Show. This is the Big O 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 Show.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. Welt and Rheaume has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welt and Rheaume, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welt and Rheaume can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welt and Rheaume can help. Call 954-966-4646.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy. a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red, an infrared light, has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
The viewpoints, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Yes, good morning, boys and girls. Welcome aboard to the show live from the beautiful dealership that is Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Come on out. We'll be out here for a couple of hours till about 1 o'clock at 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 and Pines. We got the great Sean Stanley out here. I just talked to Pat Nasto. Pat is super. He's like a monster Dolphins fan, right? And so I'm talking with Pat because whenever I see Pat here, Pat's one of the many great people that are in this organization. But Pat is he's like us. Like, he's football all the time, Dolphins 24/7, 365, that kind of stuff. And so we were just talking, and he is psyched. I think a lot of us in the Dolphin Nation, we're absolutely psyched about this season coming up. It's like last season was unfinished business. That to me, that's the way I look at it. I'm not falling into any of the negative bullshit that you get from some of the media out there, and because that's how they sell, and that's how they get views, and that's how they get clicks and all that kind of stuff. And we don't do that on this show. We just call it like we see it. And hey, man, if we happen to get clicks from it, great. If we don't, it's not what we're here for. It's not like Sean and I sit here going, okay, what can we manufacture to try to create a rise out of people? Nah. We'll get a rise out of people just by doing our thing. And that's it. You know what I mean? So don't get shocked as it is. So Pat is like a lot of us, super psyched about this upcoming season. Cannot wait, man. Cannot wait. I mean, it's already been an exciting offseason. It was the reverse this offseason. Remember last year, it started off slow. Oh, what are the Dolphins doing? They're doing nothing. And then all of a sudden, the Teron Armstead, then the Tyreek Hill thing happened, all that stuff. And it just became like, whoa. And then this year it started off with a bang, and then now it's kind of tailed off right now. And I think we're waiting for the draft. And then in the draft, there'll be another wave of free agency. What you didn't get in the draft, you'll get in free agency. Same old, same thing that happens every year. That's how the cycle goes. A lot of the guys that are now waiting in free agency, they're going to have to wait till teams are done in the draft filling certain needs. And then they'll say, okay, we didn't fill this need. Let's go search for that in free agency. We need this guard. We need this tight end, this running back, quarterback, tackle, whatever it is. And then they'll go with what's left in free agency, and they'll try to get the best of what's left in free agency. So that's kind of the process over here. But listen, it's a lot of us, I think, in the Dolphin Nation are just giddy about this offseason and headed into the regular season. We got a loaded show for you. Ira Winderman will be joining us at 10:10. Manny Navarro will stop by at 11 o'clock. Marcel Louis-Jacques will join us at 11:30. Scott Pianowski at noon. And Cameron Wolf at 12:30. We are absolutely freaking loaded. He got it done last night against the Sixers, 109-101. So tonight it'll be Heat and Wizards. Heat are favored by 5.5, and the Nets are taking on the Magic. The Nets are favored by 12.5 points. Which, the Nets win today ends it, and Miami is locked in at 7. So you've got to hope for Orlando to possess some real magic tonight to defeat the Nets and help out the Heat. Magic helping out the Heat. That doesn't make a lot of sense. It just doesn't make sense. Just doesn't look like it. The Panthers, well, they scored a touchdown yesterday. That was awesome, bro. How about Alex Lyon, bro? Bob who? After that terrible start that Lyon had, and everybody's like, wow, bro, Bob. And then after that, Lyon has been outstanding. What was it yesterday? 56 saves, right?
It was one shy of the record. I believe it was 56 is what he ended up with.
I mean,
out of 58 shots, by the way, too.
56 saves, dude. 56 saves. Now, that's a goalie getting peppered, bro. Damn, 56 saves. That was amazing last night. Wow. So we've got both our local teams fighting for those final playoff spots. Florida right now is locked in, tied with the 7th spot with the Islanders both at 89. And then Pittsburgh's in the 9th spot with 88 points. Saturday, Pittsburgh's at Detroit, and Philly is at the Islanders. The Panthers on Saturday are at Washington. So we'll see how this whole thing shakes out.
For you last night, what was the bigger surprise? The way the Panthers played or the way the Heat played?
No, the way the Heat played, because they actually used Embiid. So when they played Embiid, I was like, okay, so they're at, which I still don't understand why you're playing Embiid. To me, it makes zero sense to play Embiid, but whatever. If you want to, I don't know how you're winning the MVP in game 80. I just, either you have it or you don't already in game 80. But anyway, I'm gonna go Heat. The Panthers have been playing really well lately. You know what I mean? So it's.
Or I guess the scoring explosion of the Panthers against what the Heat did to Philadelphia.
No, the Heat.
Yeah. No,
the Heat. Yeah.
I just want to make sure that
everything about the Heat last night was pleasantly nice. It was really nice to see that they got it done. I still think they're going to end up in the 7th spot because I don't see the Nets losing tonight to the Magic. I just don't. I just don't. So they're going to stay in the play-in, I think, when it's all said and done. And then obviously the Panthers, there's no lock yet that they've made the playoffs either. They've got a couple games left and they got to take care of business, or if not, they could be on the outside looking in. But I wasn't surprised with the way the Panthers played last night. You know what I mean? But the Heat, they actually played a legit opponent. If Embiid wouldn't have played, then I would have said, oh, okay, whatever. If they win, I wouldn't have been as impressed. But I was impressed yesterday. They did a nice job, man.
And the Panthers game got chippy. You saw the old
the refereeing in that game was terrible, dude. Just
terrible.
Twice they ran over Lyon twice.
Yeah, Brady went and sat in the dad's after he got it.
And the boy, and after they ran him over that first time, then they were like, anybody who was in that area, they were going after you, which I guess what you kind of want.
That's the difference between last year and this year.
Yeah.
To me, that's not the Panthers last year.
Well, they had a little more toughness last year with Gudis and all that stuff.
Well, good,
but the year before and the year before that and the year before that, yeah, they were a bunch.
But this year, your first line's fighting.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not like you're not throwing guys out there to be like, okay, go out there. You know, like back in the day, the Goons.
Yeah. They're still not the mid-'90s Panthers, by the way. Okay, those guys would fight. Those were fighters. You know what I'm saying? This team is still kind of soft, but I wasn't surprised yesterday. And Alex Lyon has played. Jesus, that kid's mentally tough, dude. That kid's mentally tough because that night he had a few weeks ago that was just horrible, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, who is this kid?" And then since then, he has been. You're like Bob Who at this point. I'm good without Bobrovsky right now. You got to ride this guy right now. Ride the hot hand. And that is a hot hand when you stop 56 shots yesterday. All right. Let's get to a little basketball talk. We are here at Craig Zinn's Acura Pembroke Pines. Let's get to our Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report with the one and only Ira Winderman.
Heat fans, time for the best insight of your favorite team with insider Ira Winderman, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. It's the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report. Here's Ira Winderman.
All right, there he is. How you feeling, Ira? You feeling good? You ready to take that train?
Ready to get on the choo-choo. I don't know if they'll let me blow the horn, but so nice up here in the Northeast when you could just take a train from point A to point B and they're all short trips. And that's one thing to keep in mind about the Heat over these years. There are no short trips other than Orlando. So many teams in the East, day of the game, an easy jaunt over to the next city. So, yeah, for a back-to-back, there could be a lot worse back-to-backs. But listening to you and Sean in your crossover talk before our Acura Pembroke Pines report, both teams yesterday just are making statements. You know what, Big O? You want your team to look their best going into the playoffs. The Panthers have made that turn already. We're seeing that. And the Heat last night, and I don't know if it's encouraging or frustrating, Big O, that they could look that good at moments and so crappy at other moments. But last night really was an example of all the possibilities of all the good that the Heat can be.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's who they are, and that's why they've been so inconsistent, because when you're not a good team, you can't do this on an every night basis. And listen, the other thing is your backs are against the wall. And they're trying to, get out of the play-in, and even though I think it's going to end tonight because I don't think the Nets, the Nets win tonight, it's over, right? If I'm correct, right?
Yes, if the Nets win either of the last two or the Heat lose either of the last two. So let's take it from this approach. The Heat can win their final two, certainly. Washington is sitting their entire starting lineup tonight because the NBA is a tankathon at the bottom. That could be a Heat W, even with Kyle Lowry sitting out, maybe Jimmy sitting out. Sunday at home against Orlando. Orlando sat most of their prime players at their start of a back-to-back last night. Let's say the Magic go off and have Cole Anthony scores 50 and they beat the Nets. Not going to happen, but let's say. Here's the problem, Big O. The Sixers are at Brooklyn on Sunday. The Sixers can determine in that game, would you rather play Brooklyn in the first round? Would you rather play Miami? After last night, I'll let you answer that question.
Yeah, that's Brooklyn. You want to play Brooklyn because Miami has the better.
I facetiously in my blog at the Sun Sentinel said yesterday, if the Sixers have to lose that game on Sunday, you're going to see a lineup like Dwayne Dedmon at point guard. I mean, they're just going to throw everything to the wind. Yeah. Doc Rivers even said after last night's game, he was glad that Philadelphia's G League team completed the best of 3 series in 2 games to win the G League title, so he could bring all his G League players back tonight in Atlanta. I think by the end of play tonight, Atlanta with one more win secures the number 8 seed. So we are looking next Tuesday night, Kaseya Arena, however you want to pronounce that, Heat Hawks, winner gets the Celtics in the first round of the playoffs.
Yay.
Here's fascinating.
Yay. Let me ask you something, Ira.
7-8, rather.
Because I think any writer that's changing their vote at this point, you should have your vote stripped.
Okay.
You either won the MVP or not already by game 80. I don't think game 81 or 82 is going to make a difference. why the hell would you play an injury-prone player like Embiid last night?
Well, you play him last night because you're trying to secure the matchup with Brooklyn. Because if the Sixers beat the Heat last night, they know their matchup. They can plan. They can sit everyone. That's important to the Sixers, Big O. They know you don't want to play an MFer like Jimmy Butler at closing time in a playoff game. God bless Mikal Bridges and what he's done for Brooklyn. They were trying to secure a series against the Nets, wash their hands, and be done with the season. Joel Embiid did not travel to Atlanta today with the Sixers. His season is done. It was their whole finale. They wanted to give him one more
an injury, and it didn't work out for you.
No, but you don't know it doesn't work out until it doesn't work out, and they did sit him the fourth quarter. So they did sit him at the end when it became more lopsided. So that
I know, but
everyone gets the matchup they want. Here's what's interesting. When the Heat play the Hawks, most likely on Tuesday, the winner plays the Boston Celtics, the number 7 seed. The loser goes to host a Friday game. So if the Heat lose on Tuesday, they would host the winner of Chicago-Toronto. The winner of that game gets the number 8 seed and Milwaukee in the first round. The Bucks just announced that Chris Middleton is undergoing further tests on his knee. Well, you know, Big O, over the years, Middleton's been a Heat killer.
Yeah.
Bucks without Chris Middleton, I think I would rather face than the Boston Celtics with a healthy roster. You can't manipulate the play-in game. You can't risk an all-or-nothing one game. We've seen what FAU did in one game, all-or-nothing in the tournament. You have to go for it. But it is interesting how it'll play out. I would put it this way. The Miami Heat against the Boston Celtics in the playoffs, maybe win 1 or 2. I'm being honest based on what I've seen this season. The Miami Heat against the Milwaukee Bucks without Chris Middleton, hell, they could make that a series. So there's still a little bit more in play depending on how this stuff structures out. The Heat will play to win. They won't play all their players. They'll wait for Brooklyn to lose a game. There is zero chance in hell. I would play the money line on Sunday that if the Sixers have to lose to get the Nets in the first round, I would say that Brooklyn is the safest play that day when it comes into closing day of the regular season.
Yeah, I would say so. But I mean, I kind of expect Brooklyn to seal the spot today, right? They should lock in.
It should be. I mean, again, Orlando is in like this 4-way tie with Washington, with Indiana, and with Portland for lottery seeding. They need to lose. Washington, when they play the Heat tonight, needs to lose. This is why the NBA has a lottery, so you can just dictate your spot. But it's a really crappy part of the NBA when teams are just holding out everyone and still charging full price for admission. I will tell you this, Big O. If the Heat are locked into 7 after tonight and the Hawks are locked into 8, Sunday at the Heat's Arena on Haslam Day, you're going to see a lineup of like Omar Yurtseven, Orlando Robinson, Jamal Cain, Duncan Robinson, Victor Oladipo. You will probably see at least 7 or 8 Heat rotation players not play in that game. The NBA, that's a problem with this league right now.
Oh, it's a major problem.
Sure.
Now, the good thing is for Miami, they're going to go in as the team you don't want to play. So that's the good thing because it's actually not as bad as a season as it's been for us here because we're so spoiled as Heat fans. This is like one of the worst number 8 teams, 7 that any of these top teams ever want to face because it's like you're just going to get beat up in the first round instead of coast in the first round.
And same thing in the West if you wind up with the Lakers in the first round because the evenness in both conference. This is going to be a year when the first round is going to be fun because the number 8s and 9s, the number 7s and 8s aren't really 7s and 8s. It's just the way the season's worked out and teams getting hot. In sports, you want 2 things. In hockey, you want the hot goalie going into the playoff. Hello, Alex Lyon. I do agree with you and Sean. I think he starts my playoff opener over Bob the way he's playing. And in basketball, you want the hot team. This Miami Heat team, from the Brooklyn game, rather the Dallas game, I understand the competition. But from the Dallas game, the Detroit game, and last night's game, they look good. Big O, if I were to send you a tape of the Heat season just showing you these last 3 games, you'd go to me, yeah, Ira, that's the team we expected all season.
Well, it kind of looked like last year's team.
Yes,
what
it did.
Like.
Feisty and depth, quality depth. It's odd. I wrote about this yesterday. The Heat's first 2 players off the bench are a combined 71 years old, but it's working with Kyle Lowry. He has been great in his 10 games back in his role. Not all-star Kyle Lowry, but 6th man Kyle Lowry. And Kevin Love, since they flipped him to the bench, It's actually been plus on defense also, drawing his charges. He has a great plus-minus coming off the bench while playing at center. So again, this is your favorite coach, mad scientist Eric Spoelstra, putting everything in the cauldron and stirring it around, and by game number 80, finding what works for his team. And that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, this kind of, not the same probably, but it does remind me of Van Gundy and the Knicks, where they had all those injuries and it was a terrible year, and then they snuck into number 8, and then they ended up in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, and again, that was a year they had a Latrell Sprewell injury, and they had to work it and go from there. Same thing with the Heat with the Kyle Lowry injury. And also the same thing with a great player turning it on. Jimmy Butler, based on since the All-Star break, is an MVP level candidate, not for this season. He's missed 15 games, might miss game number 16 tonight. I get all that. But damn, he is such an MFer at the end of the season. Isn't he, Big O?
Oh, yeah. I mean, right now, well, listen, Jimmy's been an MFer since he got here.
True.
Okay? Nobody can ever complain about the way he has played and how he has produced and the efficiency that he produces with. I mean, it's truly amazing. You just worry that he has to carry the load every single night. And to me, that's a burden that should not be on him. Bam should be unloading some of that. Tyler should be unloading more of that, off him, and they don't do enough of it night in and night out. So that's been kind of the shame, with all of this.
But the good thing is, if they win tonight, he gets Saturday, Sunday, Monday off for a big game Tuesday. If they win Tuesday, he gets Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off for an opening game against Boston on Saturday. Now the schedule opens up.
Yeah, no more back-to-backs for him.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's no back-to-backs for anyone. Today's the last Heat back-to-back for the 22-23 season, playoffs included. Kyle will sit out tonight in Washington, but then they won't have that. This is when having an older roster is not the worst thing in the world in the playoffs. It kills you during the regular season when you're just struggling for breath. Tonight concludes a stretch of 3 games in 4 nights. That's kind of tough on a 37-year-old Kyle Lowry. But the Heat have pushed through. So I'm not saying they're going to win the first round of the playoffs beyond the play-in. But what I'm saying is they look like they have a better chance now than they probably did at any other point during the season. This is the right time.
What happens in Dallas?
Mark Cuban can say all that he wants to say about he wants to keep Kyrie. What he's trying to do is motivate Kyrie for the final week of the season. That doesn't work. The Luka Doncic thing is going to be fascinating. I know what you think of him. I know you're going to talk about weight control and all that. But let's face it, he was in the Western Conference Finals last year. He is among maybe the most unique offensive player in the NBA. Probably. And Mark Cuban's going to have hard decisions to make there, because I sense that Luka has that feistiness that he will push for something better. And this whole Jalen Brunson thing, when Mark Cuban opened his mouth, his father's an assistant coach on the Knicks. We never had a chance. No, you blew it because you undervalued him. I'm going to be honest. I undervalue Jalen Brunson. You and I and Kurt Heelan on our RedRecover.com Inside the Paint show, we all talked about how it was an overpay for the Knicks for Jalen Brunson.
Yes.
It wasn't an overpay. He's a guy I have on my list of most improved player candidates. He has been that good this season. So you know what? Mark Cuban blew it, but Big O, when you let talent walk out the door for nothing, that sends an awful message to the rest of your roster. I think Luka Doncic will become more and more vocal that unless he can get another star in there beyond the Kyrie Irving, put up the numbers, Dallas is in trouble. Mark Cuban blew it. I think he knows that.
Can Luka leave straight up out the door?
No, he's under contract through 2025.
Oh,
the question in the NBA
he's got 2 more. He's got 2 more years left on his deal. Okay.
But how soon can you become cantankerous? With the Indiana Pacers, Paul George forced his way out with 2 years left. Remember, he went to Oklahoma City, then he went to the Clippers. So it's just a matter of when does Dallas get nervous? It's really interesting. It's almost like Shark Tank.
He can eat his way out.
Again, I'm going to go the other way because I think he's the kind of player that I would trade anyone short of Jimmy Butler on this roster for, including Bam Adebayo.
Hot plate Luka.
I've seen John hot plate Williams. This is completely different, my friend. And you know what? He can hot plate all he wants and make all the hot pockets he wants if he can play offense like that. He is still a top 5 and maybe top 3 offensive player in the NBA.
Oliver Luka Miller.
See it a little bit differently than my friend there, the big Oster tag, so I'm not going to go there.
Bigger breasts, Oliver Miller or Luka Doncic?
Not for me to say. You know what? You can watch Seinfeld. You can buy your own man's ear. You go from there.
What are you working on this Sentinel so folks can check you out?
Couple of things. Last season, 7 games left to go in the season. Max Strus becomes a starter. The Heat take off. This season, 5 games left in the regular season. Max Strus becomes a starter. The Heat are taking off. Could history be repeating itself? Working on that. Working on a notebook later today about how Kyle Lowry has really found himself and been very good. And as much as people hate management plans, including Orlando Alzagari, you can see the benefit of it. And you know what? If Kyle can be this, it maybe heartens you for the future that, hey, maybe there's something there. There's a prideful player. He could make it work. His plus minus has been outstanding off the bench. His win shares have been outstanding. So story on Max Strus, how he's making it work. Kyle Lowry's making it work. It all looks good at the end of the season. Hey, bring on the play-in.
I hang out with Kyle all the time. He and I are racing around the drive-thru. Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heapy. Catch his work there.
He has a Ferrari. He's racing through faster than you, Big O.
Yeah, you can tell he's had a couple more meals than I have.
But you have a quality Acura from Pembroke Pines, so we're all in good shape there.
Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heapy and catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Ira, have a great weekend. Safe travels, my friend. We'll catch up next week.
Catch you on Monday for our first ever Acura Pembroke Pines NBA play-in preview. Don't miss it, folks. Thanks, Big O.
There you go. Way to go, Ira. Have a great weekend. There you go. And we are here at Acura Pembroke Pines, where you can come on out and see a great selection of brand new automobiles. The Integra was the sports car of the year here in the United States, baby. And come on out and check it out, man. We've got a bunch of great vehicles that are just taking it to the next level. So we also got a fleet of certified pre-owned vehicles and a service center led by Mike Chan and Jordan Ferber. Larry Schlossberg, Pat Nasto, Tony Stampone, great people out here taking care of you at 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 and Pines. It is Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
You've been listening to the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA Report with Ira Winderman. When you're looking for award-winning service and great deals from the #1 volume Acura sales dealership in the Southeast United States, you go to Craig Zinn Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
All right. By the way, we do want to remind you here in South Florida, all the way down to the Keys, all the way up to Hope Sound, heck, all throughout Florida. One of our listeners in Orlando came on down and saw the great folks at Welt and Rheaume. I was actually hanging out with Jeff yesterday. Jeff is also going to that Metallica concert. He was in Mexico City. We're trying to get out of our tickets to go to Seattle. He's already got his tickets in Seattle. We were just talking about a couple of concerts that we were going to go to. And I was hanging out with him yesterday. And again, another one of our listeners called. Again, when it comes to, attorney-client privilege, you can't talk about that kind of stuff. But we have a few of our listeners now. One of our listeners in Orlando came down to see Jeff and Dan and has hired them. And you can do the same thing, 954-966-4646. So it really doesn't matter where you're at in Florida. Listen, if you're dealing with bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury, any of these things, we lived it, okay? We had a car go through the wall of our house, and, they thought they were fast and furious, these kids, and Progressive Insurance was trying to take advantage of us. Welt and Rheaume crushed their ass. I mean, absolutely crushed them. And this is something that they do often. Okay. They crush the big insurance companies. So if you don't want, these insurance companies are bogging you down, call Welt and Rheaume. In fact, if you have any of these issues, do not even ever call the insurance company. You call Welt and Rheaume first. They'll send their adjusters, and then they'll contact the insurance company for you. And trust me, these insurance companies act completely different when a lawyer's calling them right from the get-go. You know why? They know the laws. You and I don't. And the insurance companies know that, so that's why they take advantage of us. And their adjusters are working for them, not for you. Don't let any of these adjusters, oh, no, I'm doing it objectively. Get the hell out of here. You don't care about the client. You care about the insurance company. That's the way it goes. 954-966-4646. These insurance companies are great at collecting your claims. But when you file one, oh, they are absolutely brutal. Call Welt and Rheaume. They are the awesome left and right tackles that will protect you when it comes to all of this. 954-966-4646. Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, Monroe County, and even anywhere throughout Florida, man. Call them. Free consultation. Ask for Jeff Welt. 954-966-4646. And speaking of Welt and Rheaume, Marcel Louis Jacques will join us at 11:30 in hour number 2, an hour from now. What happened? What are you laughing about?
So, hold on a minute. Let's see who actually started
Lisa
this.
says, happy Friday, Big O and Fitz, listening from 30,000 feet on my way to Philly. How about that?
Wow.
So listening on the plane. I like that. That's cool. Thank you, Lisa.
You know, there's NBA Central.
Yeah.
Nowadays, everybody has blue checks, so I'm not sure how, I
Right.
follow them, but not necessarily.
Right.
But they put out, they asked 3 personnel directors if Thanasis Antetokounmpo,
The other Antetokounmpo?
Yeah, thank you. So you can say the last name for me. Would have a job without Giannis's assistance.
No.
One immediately replied no.
Right.
One said, let me think about it. Paused for 10 seconds, said no. And the other one says, we know what it's all about. It's about appeasing Giannis. But to answer your question, no.
Zoran Dragic.
I start going down the comments, and there's somebody called Greek Mamba, okay? Just a regular fan and everything else. But I found it funny because he says, if Udonis Haslem has a job in 2023, Thanasis absolutely can too.
Fair?
It's fair, but what has Thanasis done for the Bucks compared to what UD has done for the Heat?
Right.
That's kind of where I'm looking
but
at
it's
it as.
This UD is
Yes.
what they're looking at because
Well, again, I'm the fan of the Heat, so I'm going to defend my 305.
Right. RUD means more to us than somebody else.
Again, it's the public perception is just this guy just has a job just because he's UD.
Hey, man, Zoran Dragic. Why was Zoran on the team? Why? Because he could play? No, to appease Goran. That's it. And they only appeased him for a little while, and they had to get rid of Zoran eventually. There's one going on right now in town. Do you know which one it is? There's one going on right now in town. Anybody? Bueller. There's one going on in... Huh? The Stahl brothers. No. Yeah, they got the brothers, but no. No, those two brothers, they're earning their keep. Anybody else? Come on, I want to see. It's going on in town right now. One is helping the other on a team. Not going to tell you what, but Jimmy and Kyle, they're not related, dude. Breezy, you smoking weed or something, bro? You drunk or something? Related. It's going on in town right now. Come on. You know? Go ahead, say it. Say it. You know it, say it.
Is it Beckham or Neville?
No, they're not related.
Their dad owns a thing, and he's got the contract to be on the...
Oh, you talk about Neville's kid.
Yeah.
No, but he's on the minors, and then he's on the team. Yeah. It's not him.
Okay, so now I'm off. You're it's more toward brothers, then, is what you're saying.
Related.
They're related.
I'm just saying related. Okay, related.
Does that go through everybody who's related right now?
Come on, guys.
Breezy responded yelling this time.
All
capital letters. Jimmy, Kyle.
Yeah, they're not related. They're not brothers.
They're godparents.
They're not blood. They're not blood. It's got to be blood. There we go, Jamie Zorrilla, all the way from San Jose. Yeah! The Cavender twins, bro. The Cavender twins. The other one doesn't play. The other one's on for the ride.
Yeah,
Haley plays.
Didn't even think about. I wasn't even thinking about that end of it.
Jamie, bro, it took somebody from freaking San Jose, California to be on my level here.
Yeah, but he wasn't. He was talking about a video they put out. He wasn't even like thinking about what you're thinking about.
Oh, he says, how about the Cavendish sisters and their relaxation? Oh, God. So you didn't even get it. You got it by accident. That's actually it. It's the Cavendish twins.
You know they're signed to WWE
And
as
by
well.
the way, yeah, I saw their video. Yeah, she's cut up, bro.
They got an NIL deal with WWE as well.
Yeah, they're
That's
making
next in line.
They're making so much money. It's not even funny. They are geniuses. Those Cavendish twins.
They're smart.
Okay, they are geniuses. All right, they are monsters of the midway when it comes to the business of just life, bro. Ass kicking.
Somebody said Victor
Mesa, Victor Mesa, yeah.
Forgot about those guys.
What happened to that Victor Mesa guy? Yeah, I mean, wow, what a useless signing that was. Holy moly, that was bad. But yeah, the Cavendish twins are. That's
you saw in the Final Four, like
yeah.
the one played and the other one was just there for cheerleading.
Yeah, bro, she's just there. She's just there. She's, she's the other cutie on for a ride. That's it. Because Haley's the one that plays, and she didn't shoot well, by the way, down the stretch.
No, the last two games, no.
Yeah, she sucked down the stretch.
I thought she had fixed it because she hit that one timely one, and then it went away again.
Yeah, her best shot was in practice, the half-court shot. That's about it. That was her. That was her best. Dougie Fresh throws out the Menendez brothers. Why? Only one was a killer, the other one was a fake killer? Is that what you're saying, Doug? One was a fake killer. He went to jail with the other one, but really there was only one killer out of the brothers. The other one, minor league. We can't even call him a real killer. He just took the credit for it. The Diaz brothers. It was the Diaz brothers. I'll tell you, Tony, we'll get those Diaz brothers. You're a Hasarai. You're a pig that doesn't fly straight. Anyway, they started blaming the other in the trial, says Dougie Fresh. Yeah, I do remember that. Oh, Lordy. By the way, EJD Construction. We love talking about Eric and the great people at EJD Construction. Dade and Broward counties only, folks. Custom home construction, major home remodeling. And, listen, the work they're doing for a lot of our listeners, it's absolutely awesome. If you want a contractor that you can trust, somebody that I've known because he's done several jobs for us. Sean has seen it firsthand. Studio stuff that we did before, a couple of different studios actually that worked with us, and also at my home, building a wall, all of that kind of stuff. I've watched it firsthand. They're just finishing remediating one of our listeners' homes that had a fire, and they had to gut everything out. Another one of our listeners had an observation deck built in their home. So many different things. So we're talking about custom home construction and major home remodeling. We're not talking about somebody, can I fix the doorknob or something? Not a handyman. We're talking about major home construction. And this is why, they are fully insured, liability and workers' comp. So everybody that walks onto your property, you don't have to worry about getting sued. I don't know if you know this, but if you have people work at your home and they are not fully insured and they get injured on your property, they can sue you. I don't know if people know that. But then you're liable for that, and you can't have that. So make sure, if you don't hire EJD Construction, please hire somebody that is fully insured, and make sure they prove it to you that they're fully insured. That way you're protected too. EJD Construction takes care of the customers and protects their customers by being fully insured. 305-433-4843. That's his personal cell number, 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com. Big O question. Do you feel confident that the Dolphins will enter the season with an upgraded O-line, or do you think we're running it back and taking a tackle in the draft? I think there will be an offensive lineman in the draft, and I think they will be better next year, this year that is coming up on the offensive line. Okay. Emilio says Perdomo should sponsor the Roast 'em and Smoke 'em shorts on YouTube. Should smoke one while he roasts the others. Duck. There you go. Roast them and smoke them. Or we could get a barbecue place for roast them and smoke them. I like that. Let's see. What else do we have? Mel says, Ira been pounding the table for a shot-blocking big man. And you said center's not important. Well, the Heat are last in the league in shot blocking. That's unacceptable. They're not very good on defense overall, Mel. You too, Mel. You effed up. Don't push it, Tony. You don't want to shoot a cop. Whoever says you were one. Let's see. Big O Zion is still not ready to come back to the Pels. He might have stolen more money than Brian Hoyer and Chase Daniels. He has. God, Zion Williamson is a disgrace, dude. Seriously. He's out for the playing game? He's so useless. He really is. All the hype every single year for him, and he never can hold up. That was my concern with him. Everyone is very concerned about an offensive line that Tua was the number one passer behind. It'll get better this year too, Mickey. I'm with you. And plus, they'll get better in the running game. They'll get better on the offensive line. I'm not worried about it. Injuries is I think is the thing that can slow them down. You do that, and you get $5,000 and Chico. And if anything happens to buy the money, pobrecito. And then you throw the toothpick at him. Mel, you get a first-class ticket to the resurrection. Maybe you can buy one of those first-class tickets, Mel, to the resurrection. F you. Oh, Doncic's weight is listed as only 230. He does know his games are being watched by others, right? I say 280. Leon Fresco says, Big O, what are the odds the Marlins will win the World Series? I will hang up and listen. Beyond zero. Rosendo says, still very concerned when your starting quarterback is not playing in the playoffs. I didn't know the playoffs started right now, and nobody's playing. Somebody's ready to race. Dude, is the F1 race coming already? Or is there another race? No, but I thought I just drove past the stadium and I saw like they were building the racetrack. So what date is the F1 race here? Is it already right around the corner? Because when I left yesterday, yeah, we're right there, May 7th. Okay, yeah, dude. Like I drove by the stadium yesterday and they were building the track. Like they had a lot of the track and the grandstands and all that stuff already built. I was like, holy crap, this thing's already coming back?
Yeah, because I think a couple weeks before they do the test run and then they come in for the week of the race and do practice.
Right. They have to.
They've got about 2.5 weeks before.
Yeah, usually there's at least a week before the race that they're doing all the prep.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. But dude, they're already building everything.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah. I thought they were just trying to get a jump, but yeah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work there because because again, the parking lot goes through.
It looks so cool.
Yeah, it's weird when you drive in. Like
so
when we were going
cool.
to the thing, is you drive over some of the stripping of the track, as you're going in. It's like okay,
yeah, it's pretty awesome. What a great job that Garfinkel has done with that property, man. Jesus. What they've done with that property and all the different things that they're doing, all the different events from Rolling Loud to Jazz in the Gardens and the tennis tournament, now F1 race. You've got the Dolphin practices, got the Dolphin games, the Hurricane games, concerts. Jesus, am I missing anything?
Going from Miami Open just ended to a month and you'll have F1. Less than a month, the F1 festivities will start.
Right.
And then what do you got?
And they just had Rolling Loud.
Yeah, and Jazz in the Gardens as well.
And Jazz in the Gardens. Like, it's just amazing, dude.
I think they'll get a little bit of a break right before the Dolphins season kicks off.
Right.
That's about it.
Yeah. I mean, it is so impressive.
And that's not counting concerts. I don't even know what concerts are coming right now.
Yeah. No, I mean, besides the concerts. But yeah, it really is impressive. And I'm probably missing another event or two that goes on there that I'm overlooking that I did not mention.
They also do the Cancer Challenge, which takes up the
the cycle challenge.
Yeah, and then there's other things there as well. So.
Yeah, the circus.
Yeah.
Still comes there.
Yeah, they didn't do it this year.
Yeah, they did in the big. Don't they do it on the parking lot?
It's on the backside parking lot now, but because my girl usually goes to it. It's usually in December.
Yeah.
Maybe we just missed it this year, but I didn't see anything about Circus Soleil this year.
Yeah, I actually don't remember if it came or not, but Jesus, man, it's just amazing how many things they got going on there. So impressive what they've been able to do there. It really is. Really great business, man. Let's see. What else do we have? For Luka, the camera adds another 20 pounds. Yep. What else do we have on the text line? Yep, my sister is also Dougie Fresh. You're hilarious, bro. Okay, so you guys are going back and forth. Alrighty. So we got the Heat winning last night against the Sixers. Butler with 24. Tonight they're at the Wizards. They're favored by 5.5. Over and unders 217.5. Money line, Heat are minus 215. Wizards are plus 185. Magic tonight are at the Nets, and the Nets are favored by 12.5. I would imagine here's where it ends for Miami. Any shot at 6 with the Nets winning tonight. Panthers last night take care of the Senators 7-2. Barkov had 2 goals. Montour had a goal and 3 assists. Kachuk had 2 assists. Alex Lyon had 56 saves. Forget Bob. Stay with Alex until he shows you he's not hot anymore. They've got Washington tomorrow on the road. The Penguins defeated the Wild last night 4-1. So we've got Florida and the Islanders tied with the 7th and 8th spots at 89 points. Pittsburgh's got the 9th spot with 88 points. Saturday, Pittsburgh is at Detroit, and Philly is at the Islanders. So we'll keep up with all of that. Marlins will toe the slab at 110. Edward Cabrera will be going at it for the Marlins. The Mets, Taylor McGill, will be on the mound. 110 first pitch just after this game ends. Marlins will get going. You got some news?
No, not news. I had a question for you because I don't follow hockey enough, and I don't know that you might know this.
Okay.
When they get sent away, like they did last night, like 4 guys got sent away from between the Panthers and who they play? It was Ottawa?
Yes.
The Senators?
The Senators.
Like, do they have to serve anything after that, or just that's the penalty
That's
and
it.
you're done? You're back.
done.
Okay,
You're
so they don't lose anybody like some of the others. Okay.
No.
I was just wondering, like, because like I saw they were just started sending people out after, like.
Yeah, you're thinking like a red card?
Almost like now you're out for the next whatever. Because
Okay.
I was just wondering if that happens. I don't know.
Unless there's some kind of like ugly fight or something, and then a suspension.
The
comes
NHL
after.
steps in or something. Yeah,
Right.
Okay.
That's about the only way it's going to happen. But if you get ejected, you're out for the game, and that's it. You're done.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Good deal.
You're done.
Because I was a little worried about the.
Yeah. Unless you're
it was Kachuk.
unless you're FC Richmond on Ted Lasso. You didn't watch it, right? You don't know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to ruin anything whatsoever. This week, Lizzo and Jack Black were on Ted Lasso. I watched it last night. Lizzo did a nice job. Jack Black was excellent. But it's good. Lizzo is such a likable person. That's the thing about Lizzo. She's got a great personality. So whatever she does, she becomes likable, you know? So she's got that vibe about her. What are you going to say?
No, I wanted to. Chad was like, you sit in the box, do your time, and you get out. I know for the standard penalties. I was talking about for the.
No, he said when you get kicked out.
When you get kicked out, because there was 4 players ejected last night.
Yeah, you're just done for the game. Yeah. Off topic a little. Dolphins have the best D line in the NFL. They got a pretty good one. I mean, the Rams still have a couple guys that make it really nasty because, just that one guy alone makes it better than almost any D-line in the history of the game. Yeah, depth-wise, we're pretty good. But, we still have to sign Sealer to make sure we've got that depth. Wilkins is under one more year anyway, but still, that I'm sure that long-term contract is good. It's coming. Yep. I saw it, Chad. I saw it. By the way, I saw the Gus 1388 this morning sent me a I just looked at my phone and there's a text from Ira here ready to go. And it's like,
oh no, that's when I gave you a thumbs up because I saw he was in the. You know how he does when he's in the picture. Right? He doesn't realize that when we're on remotes. Yeah, I don't think I think he thinks you could see him because he was in there the whole time. Like
it's like we see you, bro.
He popped in early, so I was like, all right. I waited a minute and then I let you know he was there because you're finishing your thought.
Right.
And then as soon as you went into the new one, he was like, I was like, oh boy, here we go. Love that, Ira.
Oh God. Anyway, so I saw the trailer for Ahsoka, and it looks pretty cool, dude. Looks pretty cool. You know what I have not watched yet completely. I only watched the first episode. Is Andor. I haven't watched it yet, and everybody says it's really good. It did start. That first episode was kind of slow, but I do have to finish it and got to watch it, man. Got to finish watching that one, but that is pretty cool. Ahsoka, the trailer looks badass. I gotta say, absolutely badass. What else do we have? Lizzo needs to work on her acting. She's not an actress, bro. She's a singer. She's a rapper. She's not an actress. She did all right for her role. She did all right. It didn't really require anything, extraordinary. Jack Black was excellent. He was good. Rams suck. I would tank it for Caleb Williams, but he's a Mahomes talent with Jameson Winston's head. The Ashoka trailer, whole bunch of Star Wars stuff announced at Celebration. So excited. Andor is my favorite show. Have to watch it. See, everybody says Andor is really, really good. I only watched the first episode. Haven't watched anything else yet. We're gonna pick it up and watch it. Maybe the wife and I will binge this weekend on Andor. Maybe that's what we're gonna do. Been watching Andor. It takes a few episodes to get going, so it does, right? Okay, because we only watched the first episode. We haven't even picked up on it. We've kind of saved it. Ray says, awesome Andor season 2 next year. It leads to Rogue One. Send you some new movies incoming. Yes, I saw it there, Ray. Thank you very much, my brother. Appreciate you. Does this guy think this is a track or something? Like,
no, there's someone looking at the car.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've been here this
Pulls
morning.
Out, it comes out, and then comes back around.
There was somebody running around, and then they ended up, that car pulled up, and they were looking at it.
Okay.
Then they've been.
But you may want to go out on the streets a little better to floor it a little bit more.
It went there, and a couple times before we started, it was even louder because they were revving it up in here.
Yeah. Morning, sir. I did watch the Clone Wars, the cartoons. Yes, they're pretty good. What's that?
With all this now coming out, am I gonna have to rewatch that whole thing? Because you know how they got it on Disney Plus where it's set up by order.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna have to rewatch this whole thing again.
Yeah, it's actually really cool when you can rewatch it all.
Yeah, but I was just finishing it up, and now I got to go back to the beginning and start over. I'm not a typewriter.
Oh,
not ding ding ding.
Poor boy. Well, just watch the stuff.
Look, I like Star Wars, but I'm not the Star Wars guy like you are. Okay?
Well, watch the stuff that you haven't watched chronologically. Just fill in.
Finishing it up. I finally got to the
end. So you've watched everything?
Yeah, the cartoon took me forever.
Okay, all right.
The cartoon part took me forever, but everything else, you can go right through.
All right. There's a new one too coming out.
That's what I'm saying, but I got to go back now and watch at least the one I guess right before it, right?
Right, yeah.
Because they lead in kind of so you can catch
the storyline.
Man, this Star Wars stuff with.
I know. It's so awesome.
They thought about this way before time.
It is so awesome that they were able to do all of this to add to the storyline. because they've had us for, 40-something years, dude. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, what else do we have going on? You know what? Let me ask you guys something, because I think this is kind of odd. Okay, so the talk is in New England, all right? And listen, let's compartmentalize the word we love to use on this show. Let's separate church and state here, okay? Let's separate our feelings from all of this, because as Dolphin fans, those of you that are Dolphin fans watching, you obviously don't want Belichick to break Shula's record, right? I get all of that, but let's just take that part of the equation out, okay? Let's take that bias out, all right? So, what has Belichick been known for throughout his career with his players? What is it that he does very well with his roster over the years? Not Walmart greeters.
I mean, no-name guys come in and kind of rebuild,
Okay,
I guess.
that's one. That's something that he's done. But what else does he do with his roster very well and maybe better than most? Does he not get off the gravy train on players before they fall off?
Yes.
Is he not notorious for that? So let me ask you something. They haven't made the playoffs 2 out of 3 years. They don't make the playoffs again this year. They don't make the playoffs again next year. So all of a sudden, you haven't made the playoffs in 4 out of 5 years. You're really not having and producing winning seasons anymore. So if you're Robert Kraft, the talk of, well, you're going to keep him around till he breaks Shula's record and he's 30 wins away from Shula. He's not going to have 3 10-win seasons coming up. So why, if you're Robert Kraft, why wouldn't you do what Bill Belichick has done his entire career to players? He gets off the gravy train before they fall off the cliff. And personally, I think Belichick's in the middle of falling completely off that cliff. Karma's a bitch, dude. What goes around comes around. And, this conversation is really easy to be had. Chuck Noll, buddy, you won 4 titles. Your time came and went. We pushed your ass out. Tom Landry, your time came and went. We pushed your ass out. Don Shula, your time came and went. We pushed your ass out.
Sorry, Don.
Yeah, that was a bad mistake. That was a mistake there. Would have kept Shula around over everybody we've had until McDaniel, actually. So really, we think about it, this isn't really a hard decision anymore. And Bill Belichick should not keep his job just because he won all those titles with the one quarterback. Remember, we've talked about this before. Okay, you're Joe Gibbs and you're in a valley, but you already have 3 titles with 3 different quarterbacks. You know what? Let's give Joe a little bit more time because he's done this before and over again. Belichick has never shown us he can win a playoff game without Tom Brady. Those are the facts. The facts are he's not getting to the Super Bowl. He's not getting to the AFC Championship game. And I don't even think he'll have a winning season this year. Again, this has nothing to do with Don Shula. This has to do with do unto others as they do unto you. And you've been notorious for that, right? Well, before Damian Woody fell off, you traded him. Before Lawyer Malloy fell off, you traded him. Before, what was the name of that offensive lineman he traded to the Bucks for a 3rd rounder, and the guy fell right off the fucking cliff right as he traded. The next year for the Bucks, he was a disaster. He's done this over and over and over again over the years. So listen, if he comes back and he kicks ass, then of course you got to keep him because he's done, he's the GOAT and he's done what he's accomplished all this stuff. But lately, he doesn't look like it. His drafts don't look like it. He can't find another quarterback. And the one he found him in the 6th round, dude. It's not like you got him in the 1st or 2nd round that, these are guys that are supposed to have success in your eyes because that's why you're picking them in the 1st or 2nd rounds. Because you think they have the talent level's there. When you're picking him in the 6th, well, we're hoping he can be a backup. And he turns out to be the greatest quarterback of all time. So that shit only happens once. Just like 2003 Marlins, that will only happen once. That'll never happen again in the history of time. You'll never, ever again in South Florida have a team that was so young and a whole bunch of guys have career years that it takes you to a title, and all you need is a Pudge and a barely used Ugueth Rubina and, another veteran or two, very little. 97, that's different. That's a whole different ball. That's the norm when you bring a whole bunch of veterans together. So it's not normal to draft a guy in the 6th round and he becomes the greatest quarterback of all time. Bill got lucky with that one. And maybe that's what it proves, that was luck, and that helped him and catapult him to become the greatest coach of all time because he got the greatest quarterback of all time and he got to 6 titles. But outside of Brady, what you've done is not impressive. So if he does have the next 2 losing seasons and he doesn't get to the playoffs, there is no reason whatsoever to keep Bill Belichick around. That means his time is come and gone. And just like he moved on from other players, Bob Kraft should do the same. Yes, sir.
Can I ask you something on that one?
You can ask me whatever you want, sir.
Well, my question, I guess, would be this. Is it Robert Kraft or is it Belichick that's moving on from the players? I mean, because it's almost like Belichick's got to fire himself almost, right?
It's Belichick. Oh, but in this case,
does Kraft? I mean, I know Robert Kraft with the way the Patriots front office is and everything would have to get, but you're getting rid of your GM and your coach at the same time.
Yeah, time to move on.
But does Robert? It just doesn't. Robert Kraft doesn't seem like that guy, and I get it that he's 81 and
Shula was your GM.
No, I know, and but look what happened after.
I know, but Tom Landry and Chuck Noll, you pushed them out too.
I just
at one point or another, all the great coaches, not all of them, but a lot of them, they get pushed out.
Yeah,
it's like it's your time.
I guess it's going to go from Robert Kraft to his son, right? I mean, ultimately,
right? Yeah.
It's not like,
but Kraft will hire the next coach because he's still young enough to run the organization.
I almost feel like Kraft is tied to Belichick. I know he's going to have to make that ultimate decision, but when you look at when that happens to teams, the
Rooneys were tied to Chuck Noll.
And I guess
the Rooneys were tied to Bill Cowher, and Bill, stepped down. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't really matter that part.
I guess I'm just playing results from down here though, because when you talk about the Steelers, they didn't really drop off. I mean, they still had playoff teams, but not like we. No, we got rid of Shula, and
we never did anything again.
We're still we're paying for it.
We're waiting for it,
and you wonder, to me, Belichick's the devil. Kraft has made the deal with the devil. You get rid of the devil. Where does your franchise go?
Yeah, but if he doesn't have winning seasons over the next 2 years,
you're right. There's reason to do it.
Then there's a pattern for 4 to 5 years.
Yes,
and that's the problem.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. Hour number 2 is next. Manny Navarro and our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report follows up.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Welt and Rheaume has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welt and Rheaume, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welt and Rheaume can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welt and Rheaume can help. Call 954-966-4646.
For over 16 years, EJD Construction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJD Construction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Caneswear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
All right. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Manny Navarro, in our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
Feeling great, spring football's almost wrapped up. I was out there yesterday to talk to a few of the defensive assistants. It's when it's valuable to go meet the new guys and stuff. And, just excited that recruiting is going to start picking up here, so there'll be some news hopefully soon.
What can you tell us from the practices? Because I don't know what you're allowed to say.
Yeah, well, I'm not allowed to watch a whole lot. None of the reporters are. I think we get like 10, 15 minutes usually in the morning while they're kind of going through individual drills. So we don't watch any 11 on 11 or any 7-7. But I think from a improvement perspective, you start to see some of the new players that are there, more size, bigger, more physical players that they've recruited here the last couple of years, and then. You start to see, from talking to the coaches, talking to Jason Taylor yesterday, you get to see some of the changes that Mario made with the coaching staff, the enthusiasm. They're a lot younger coaching staff now, four assistants under 40 on this staff. So you start to see a little bit of the change with this group. But, the real news will be picking up here in terms of transfer window when that opens up April 15th. And then some of these commitments. Hopefully Miami lands their quarterback tomorrow, Aaron Noland.
Mm-hmm. Now, what are they competing with Air Norland? Who else is wanting Air Norland?
Yes, Mr. Air Norland, or Air Noland, as Mr. Prentice Noland. Miami's main competition is Texas A&M and Ohio State. Those are the main schools that I think if you were to ask Air, who's really in it for him, I think those are the three schools: Miami, Texas A&M, and Ohio State. I think Clemson's also there on the outside looking in, and he'll make his decision tomorrow night, 8:45. He's going to announce it 8:45 Eastern, and it's a big domino for Miami, because if he doesn't pick them, look, he's a top 10 quarterback in the 2024 class. Miami's only got one commitment right now, who's a kicker. If he doesn't pick them, then you kind of go to plan B. And I don't know that you maybe get as much of a great sort of kickoff to the recruiting season. Miami needs them to get that elite quarterback. Everybody wants an elite quarterback in each of the recruiting classes. It helps recruit other kids. I think if Miami's able to get him, then it's a good sort of kickoff to the second season of Mario Cristobal and his recruiting cycle.
What's your gut tell you?
I really don't know because this kid's played it pretty close to the vest. I think he went to Ohio State last week. He visited Alabama a couple of days after that. He said a lot of great things about Texas A&M and Miami. If I were him and I were in his shoes, I'd go to Ohio State. I mean, that's a program that's better set up. You have so many elite receivers there. You have Brian Hartline recruiting the hell out of the receiver position. You're in a conference you can win every single year. If you're the number one guy there, and I don't know that Ohio State really has a great quarterback right now on its roster that's going to necessarily be quarterback for the next 2 or 3 years. I think if I were him, I'd probably go there. But I hope for the Hurricanes' sake and Miami fans' sake that he picks Miami, because I really think that could spur some big momentum for Mario in this recruiting class that's coming up.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere a day or two ago that whoever was that writer, he kind of felt Ohio State was the one that was going to get him. Like, I think he wrote like 90% he thinks Ohio State's getting him.
Yeah, I think there's been some like quote unquote crystal ball projections for him to go to pick Ohio State. Some of the national pundits. But I think the reality is, like I said, I think this kid has played it pretty close to the vest. I know when I spoke to him, I've spoken to him twice in the last few months. Both times I got the impression he really likes Bobby Petrino at Texas A&M. I think he there's a connection there with him. But I also think Miami has a very good shot, because I think he looks at the roster. He knows Tyler Van Dyke's going to be leaving after this season, and he's probably confident he can go in there and compete for a starting job right away. And he's super talented, brings a different dynamic. He's kind of a mix of both Jakari Brown and Emory Williams, in the sense that he's more accurate, but he can also still run the football and be exceptional in that part of the game. So I think I think there's also a real affinity for Miami. So we will see. I haven't spoken to him since his trip to Ohio State, so I haven't been able to figure out his tone. But from what some of my colleagues at The Athletic said, it seems like Ohio State's pretty confident they're going to get him.
He says, "I know where I'm going."
Yeah,
exactly. That's his famous quote in The Athletic.
That's correct.
I know where I'm going. So, yeah, unfortunately. All right. Zaquan Patterson, talk to me about the 4-star safety. What's the deal? What's the latest?
Yeah, kid out of Chaminade, one of the local products that, you look at Miami, another big physical kid. Chaminade's a school that has a lot of guys that Miami's interested. Both of those receivers that I've mentioned quite a bit, JoJo Trader and Jeremiah Smith. And so he's another one of those guys there. I think Zaquan is a guy that Miami would love to get. They'd love to sort of if you attacked one school this this cycle, it would be Hollywood Chaminade. Try to get as many of those guys. I know Mario's working to fix things with relationships there with some of the coaches. I know they were a little upset with Miami in the past year. They had a couple of their former kids there that had to transfer out. They weren't getting a lot of playing time. So I think, in terms of the coaching staff and the relationship with the school, I think that's something they're working on. But overall, I think those kids are considering Miami. I think Miami's got a real shot to get all of those kids, but they got to win on the field. I think, the results this season are really going to matter for Mario. I think last year there was a lot of understanding. There were a lot of kids who came in and were in attendance for that 45-3 beat down by Florida State, and they sort of looked the other way and they didn't have that affect their decision. I think this year the 2024 kids are really going to look to see what Miami does with this new coaching staff, and if they start to take a step forward on the field and start winning more games.
Jason Taylor, talk to me a little bit. Tell us what his role is. What are the responsibilities he has on with the program nowadays with the new role?
Yeah, I mean, he and Joe Salavea are basically co-defensive line coaches, which it shouldn't really surprise us anymore in college football with the importance of the improved play on the offensive and defensive line, that you have specialists. Last year, Miami had 2 defensive line coaches. Rod Wright was splitting the duties with Salavea. But ultimately, my understanding is, Jason basically leads the room in most of the meetings. Joe Salavea is the assistant head coach. He kind of I think it feeds intel between what's going on there to Mario. There's a lot of communication in that sort of regard. But I think Jason's impact is to help Miami on the recruiting trail, to help them land some of these elite 4- and 5-star guys that they want. Last year, I thought Miami really addressed the offensive line needs. They got 2 5-star offensive tackles. They went out in the transfer portal. They brought in 2 elite college starters. I think this year the plan is to upgrade the defensive line room and improve that vastly. And Jason Taylor's a big part of that. I think anytime, you're a recruit and you can sit down and be taught by an NFL Hall of Famer, I think that's super attractive. And so, and for Jason, it's interesting because, when he first got into coaching at St. Thomas Aquinas, we've seen a lot of Pro Bowl and NFL guys coach at the high school level, right? Because their kids are involved and they want to coach their kids. This has really turned into a passion for Jason. I think he really enjoys the coaching aspect of it the same way Dion does, in terms of just being around kids, being in the locker room, having an influence on their lives. And I think yesterday, you kind of got a taste of Jason and why he's doing this. I mean, his sons are playing in other places. Mason's a star over at LSU, a tight end as a freshman. If you remember the Alabama game last year, he's the kid who had the winning 2-point conversion. So, for him, obviously, you think, okay, maybe he joins a college staff where he's coaching his kids, but that's not what it is for him. I think he really wants to do this and, be a head coach one day.
That's interesting. When it comes to recruiting, by the way, I would imagine that the moms really look forward to his visit.
I'm sure that they do. I'm sure the moms are very awestruck, and even the dads, right? I mean, the dads probably want, hey, can you sign this for me? Can you take this picture, right? Yeah. Look who I'm friends with, man. Yeah. I think all of that plays a factor. But right now he loves it, and I think the one thing I will say from talking to somebody who's close to him, I think last year was sort of a rough first year in college in the sense where he didn't like some of the chemistry behind the scenes with Miami. Now that he's actually coaching on the field, I think this is more enjoyable for him. He was an analyst, didn't really get his fingers dirty, couldn't really coach the way he wanted to. Now he's really involved in it, from having to call recruits to being in meeting rooms, breaking down film, being much more involved than he was a year ago. So I think this is more of what he was looking for.
How much of a force is he in recruiting? Because I joke around, obviously, with his good looks, walking into homes and moms will probably be drooling. But seriously, what kind of a force is he in recruiting?
It's hard to tell because this is his first real cycle, and he hasn't signed anybody yet, right? Miami hasn't gone out and gotten anybody with him being the lead recruiter. But I certainly think, look, Miami did a good job at the end of last year picking up a couple of defensive linemen. They stole this kid, Collins Achimpong, out of Africa. He's an African kid who was going to go play at Michigan, and they kind of stole him late. He's another big-bodied, 6'7", 250-pound, 260-pound guy. And I'm sure if he doesn't get the inkling that Jason Taylor is going to be his coach, he probably doesn't pick Miami. He probably doesn't come here. And so I think there was an influence in that decision, and as well as potentially a few others. Miami's in on David Stone, who's one of the best defensive linemen in the country. He visited here on back-to-back weekends recently during spring football. And I think Miami's in it ultimately because that kid got to know Jason Taylor, knows his resume, and knows, hey, if I go to Miami, not only will I probably get a really good NIL deal, but I'll get coached by an NFL Hall of Famer. And I think you need to have both of those things. John Ruiz's money can only take you so far. I think you need to have the full thing. And kids want to be coached by the best. They want to have really unique experiences. And Miami presents that with Jason Taylor on staff.
By the way, one of our listeners here, Emilio Hernandez, says, my wife called to schedule a visit from JT, and we don't even have a son in college.
Yeah, man. He's got that kind of charm. I'm sure.
I'm just saying, I'm not surprised. Not surprised.
Not at
Women
all.
all over. Yeah, no, come on over and recruit. Well, there's no kid here. Yeah, who needs a kid? We'll produce one with Jason. That's kind of what's happening, I think. That's what's going on. See, that now I know what's going on. Mario has set Jason off to go produce defensive linemen for the future. That's what's going on. Yeah. It'll take about 18 years for the cycle to start, but in 18 years from now, we're going to have multiple Jason Taylors just joining,
Yeah, and Mario will be 70 right at that point, and he'll be happy to take him then.
Exactly. I'll be retired. I'll just be watching from a distance. 18 years from now, you still working, Sean? He says yes. Oh, God.
Yep.
I'm hoping there's still places to work in 18 years for us, Big O. I'm hoping there's still some places we can find work.
Well, I'm hoping I'm not doing shit in 18 years, bro.
We make our own, man. We make our own.
That's true.
I'm 56, bro. 18 years from now, that's 74, bro. I want to just hang, bro.
Yeah,
If I hit 70, I gotta
blame you.
hang.
I'll be 62, and my girls hopefully will be in college, and there'll be somebody else's problem at
Yeah,
that
you're
point.
you're winding down.
Yeah,
By 70, bro, I need to get the hell out of the rat race. I gotta get out, bro. I gotta get out. But anyway, all right. What do you got going on over at the Athletic this weekend, my friend?
Well, obviously, look, there's a spring football game next week, so I'm going to do sort of a spring football summary. What we can take away from this spring, that'll be coming out next week. In terms of Miami, we'll find out where Aaron Nolan is going. Like I said, tomorrow night at 8:45. Hopefully, that's a Miami thing, and I'm writing a Miami story, not a Texas A&M or an Ohio State story. And then look, there's a ton. I'm going to be recording a podcast. The Wide Right Pod. We're working on different projects. I'm going to be writing about the ACC quarterback rooms, so that way everybody gets an idea of what's going on in conference at the quarterback position. A ton of stuff. Florida recruiting notebook. There's a ton of content there. Oh, and this week I became a full-time member of the Stars Matter podcast for The Athletic, which is our national recruiting podcast. So if you want to check out what I've got to say on that, and as well as Ari Wasserman and Grace Rayner and Mitch Light, my editor, the four of us are going to be on there every week doing a podcast, about an hour long, just covering all the big stories in recruiting. And so that's part of my new responsibilities as one of the national guys.
There you go. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Manny, as always, appreciate you, my brother. Have a great weekend. We'll catch up next week.
All right, good talking to you, brother. Take care.
Thank you, sir. There you go. Manny Navarro, as always. Don't forget Caneswear, 2511 South University Drive in Davie. They have practically anything and everything with the Canes logo on it, man. You're going to love it. Brett, Jeff, all the amazing people out there. They do a great job. They've got Dolphins gear, Marlins gear, Panthers gear, Inter Miami gear, and what else? Miami Heat, Florida Panthers, Canes, Dolphins, Inter. I think that's everything, right? Yeah, every local team, they've got it there. They've got all kinds of stuff, but they are loaded. I mean, they've got like 100 different types of T-shirts. They've got Canes jerseys. They've got sneakers and sandals and hats and keychains and pens and pencils and
barbecue cookware.
I mean, everything, an apron, everything, bro. They got it all there, practically anything. They got lights and all kinds of stuff that you can hang in your bar with the Canes logo on it. I mean, it really is impressive, the amount of things that they've got there with a Canes logo on it. 2511 South University Drive in Davie. If you can't drive to Davie because it's too far from you, go to Caneswear.com. You can order it all online. Jeff and the guys and the ladies, they get it shipped right away. Like that same day that you order, they're shipping it practically right away, man. It's pretty awesome. And when you order over $99, you will get free shipping. Caneswear.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at Caneswear.com or InnerMiamiWear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All right. Thank you all for keeping it locked here on the program. See that Bitcoin is right there still, 28,000. It is locked. Man, wait till it pops. Holy crap, when that thing pops, it is going to go absolutely off. Injective protocol is still, it's at 580. Man, I told you guys about this in November when it was $1.43, $1.70, and it's at 570. And we haven't even started the bull run yet. Absolutely crazy. So you know how they talk about how, they don't want these people too close and tied to Bitcoin, in the government and all this stuff. Well, yesterday, Bank of America and Fidelity, two of the biggest banks in the country, you know what they went and did? They went and bought stock into MicroStrategy. Okay? MicroStrategy in the last week and a half made 2 more purchases of Bitcoin. They now own over 400,000 Bitcoin. They now own 1 out of every 150 Bitcoin that is available ever. Okay? Like, it's crazy the amount of Bitcoin that they have. They have more Bitcoin than anybody in the world, MicroStrategies. So the banks can't directly yet buy Bitcoin. So what did they do? They went and became top 10 stockholders in MicroStrategy, the company that owns the most Bitcoin in the world. So if you can't necessarily directly buy it, let me just buy the stock in the company that owns the most Bitcoin in the world. MicroStrategy. It's so amazing. In a way, you know that in a way we're like a communist country, because like in China, they're keeping their average citizen down. Now they're going to start opening it up. You know, they open it up, they already have crypto open up to their elite, but not to the average person. Okay? North Korea does the same thing, Russia does the same thing, all that kind of stuff. They try to limit them from all that stuff. Only the elitists get access to it. And here it's kind of the same thing. They're trying to cut down all these smaller banks, but the big banks that are tied to the government, the Bank of Americas of the world, the Citibanks, the Chase Morgans, all those kind of things, they're all right. They can keep dealing. It's funny because they tell you, oh, they're trying to cut off banks from crypto and all that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, I have Citi, Bank of America, and Chase, and I don't struggle buying crypto at all. How come those banks don't have any issues? Oh, yeah, they're sleeping with the idiots in the government. So don't let them fool you and mislead you, and you listen to Elizabeth Warren telling you that Bitcoin's evil and all that. Yeah, that bitch wants that to happen. Why? Because she wants to keep you down. Meanwhile, she earns $200,000 a year and she has a $67 million bank account. Where do you think her interests come from? The banks. You know, some are paid by oil companies, some are paid by the gun companies, some are paid by banks. Every one of these politicians, doesn't matter if they're Republicans or Democrats, they all have personal interests. And their personal interests are over your interests because they're not about Americans. That's why I always tell you guys, I'm not a Dem, I'm not a rep. I will slam both Democrats and Republicans. I'm about Americans. Don't care about either party. All they do is divide. And it doesn't matter which one it is. They're not out for your interests. I am. They're not. So, crazy shit going on, man. Do your homework. And don't listen to some of these people that want to purposely mislead you. It's a shame. Really is. Man, I know it's not a spot we really need, but if Jalen Carter drops to 51, I'm running to the podiums. You mean the guy that his agent's not taking any calls from anybody outside of the top 10?
Probably.
And he wants Jalen Carter to drop to 51. And Jalen Carter's going to go top 10. Oh, Knight. Come on, man. There's no shot at that happening, my brother. You're drinking a little too much this morning? What do you got?
I was going to ask you if you saw the picture that Bobby Schaus sent out yesterday.
No, what do you do? He does a
About
nice job.
Cater Kohu?
No, what did he put?
He's changed his number.
Really?
Yes.
From 28 to what?
May the 4 be with you.
He changed it to number 4?
Yes.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
No, I guess it's going to stay. I don't know if it changes again throughout, but right now, yeah.
That is awesome. May the 4th be with you. That is awesome. That is awesome.
Because we talked to Darth Cater, and I guess he's going to.
That is fantastic. Wait a minute. What number is Jalen Ramsey? You know, he's like 26, right?
Oh wait, no, he was 3, wasn't he?
Oh, he's a single digit.
Yeah, I think with the Rams.
Look
Let me double check that because I thought
just
he was
make sure he's not 28, and then all of a sudden, Cater got a nice offer from Jalen for the 28.
Either way, he went good.
No, but the 4th makes so much sense for Darth Cater. That is so good. So good. I got to send him a text.
I got him in a 5 and a 20 with the Rams.
Oh, okay, so he's had 2 different numbers.
Yeah.
A 5 and a 20. Okay.
It looks like he was 20 when he came over from the Jaguar. I think he was 20 with the Jaguars. And then when they okayed the change, I think he switched to 5.
What was he in college?
See, FSU.
Yeah, what was he in college?
8.
Huh?
8.
Oh, okay. All right. So 28 has nothing to do with this. Okay, good. All right.
Oh, he's 13 too.
Yep.
Looks like he changed the number a lot.
EJ says it's called plutocracy. Oh, it's what Congress has been helping to do for cash. It's rule by the rich. Amen. That's why the 6 families started the reserve, baby. They started the Federal Reserve for their purposes, not ours. If the people unite and join hands, government loses. As long as they keep us divided, we lose, they win. Amen to that. Amen to that. Big O, what is the Dolphins' biggest draft day need? You can't do that until you get to the pick and you find out what is the best player available. Is it a tackle? Is it a linebacker? Is it a tight end? You can't do that, my brother. That's why I never tell you who I really like until the day of the draft. And then the picks are rolling around, and then I'll give you 2 or 3 guys that I really like because now I know who's off the board. It's like that last guy. Oh, if Jalen Carter's there at 51, take him. Come on, bro. Jalen Carter's not going to get out of the top 10. His agent's not even taking calls from teams outside of the top 10. In fact, Rosenhaus said that when the team calls outside of the top 10, they ask him, are you trying to trade into the top 10 to take our player? And if they say no, they say, well, no, thank you. We'll see you later. Okay. All right. Let's do it. Let's unleash the man, the myth, the legend that is Marcel Louis-Jacques and our Welt and Rheaume Miami Dolphins report.
All rise, football fans, as the Welt and Rheaume Miami Dolphins report with Marcel Louis-Jacques is in session.
Welt and Rheaume has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider Marcel Louis-Jacques.
Righty, there he is, locked and loaded and ready to go. How cool is that? I didn't know that Darth Cater switched to number 4. So may the 4th be with you for Darth Cater. Is that freaking awesome or what? I had no idea he did that. That is
cool. He just put it on Instagram yesterday. I believe I screenshot it and put it out, which I'm usually not, I'm not super in the business of number reporting and change reporting like that. But, been on vacation for a week, been pretty quiet on the account. So I figured, let's dabble into anything Dolphins on my last day of vacation.
Star Wars geek like the rest of us. So,
yeah. I mean, shoot, man, look at you see my water cup right now. This is,
I
forget.
By the way, I was wrong. When we had Darth Cater on a couple of weeks ago on the show, and I asked him about, the Saber putting it back, and he goes, "No, it was a seat belt that I locked you down. It wasn't about the lightsaber putting it back." But he goes, "I like that about putting the lightsaber back. That actually, goes well too at the same time. But it was about a seatbelt, like he locked you down with the seatbelt. Actually, is what it was. I don't know.
I feel like celebrations can always be up for interpretation. That is how it's like interpretive dance, right? Like that is how he interprets his dance. That's how he means for it to be interpreted. But I don't know if there's any harm in saying like, oh yeah, it looks like a lightsaber, especially if you're nice with the After Effects graphics and you can actually you can actually make it so he takes a lightsaber out. Like, then I mean, why not? It's not like he's not gonna hop on Twitter, hop out and say like, no, don't ever do that, man. I hate Star Wars. Like, I hate you guys for having fun. Like, come on now. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. But
and by the way, my boys at the Dark Room Collection, they made a great poster of him with Vader and all that kind of stuff, and they sent it to him, and he has that poster of him and Vader at the same time. So it's actually because he's a Star Wars guy too, so he embraces it. And it looks like with the fourth thing, he's definitely taking it to another level now. That's for damn sure. That's going to be a lot of fun, man. How about Cater? He makes such an impact for a Division II player, and he proves that he belongs, which is just absolutely amazing. And now the kid gets to, watch X again this year and Jalen Ramsey. That's only going to make that young man much better too this year.
yeah, there's such an interesting dynamic in this locker room because we saw it from, it's not the same extent as we saw from Jalen Waddle, but we saw it from Jalen Waddle last year. He was the de facto number one entering the season, right? McDaniel's going on, rants and raving about him. Hey, I would draft Jalen Waddle in fantasy. I'll tell you that, like all these things. And then they go and trade for Tyreek Hill. Like he could have pouted, he could have rolled his eyes, he could have dragged his feet, but instead goes out and has a 1,400-yard season. Jalen Phillips, he's their de facto, he is their edge rusher of the future. He is their guy, their first-round pick. They go out and trade for Bradley Chubb. And Phillips is even better in the second half of the season. Doesn't pout, gets along with Chubb great. They have a good relationship. We're kind of excited to see the things that they're going to build under Vic Fangio. And now here we are with Kader Kohou, who started most of last season as an undrafted free agent. You figure if once they let go of Byron Jones, he would have the opportunity to challenge for a starting spot before the Jalen Ramsey trade. I think without a doubt, he might even be penciled in as the starter after they get rid of Byron Jones. And so I'm interested to see how do you respond based on the culture and the attitude that Mike McDaniel has instilled in this building and in this locker room. I don't think Cater is like a me first guy. He's not the type to really mope about playing time. I think he's still going to bust as you know what. But It's still, this is now the third time that we've seen a young first or second year player going into their second year player see a star being brought in at their position. And if history has any indication, he's going to handle it with class. And I think, once again, there's a lot of fragility in the locker room when you bring in that much talent, that many egos, that many dollar signs into the locker room. And that is something that Mike McDaniel, we don't talk about enough. And he's been able to manage, he's been able to foster. That is hard to do. It's easy to lose a locker room, especially you go on, what was the losing streak? 5-game losing streak last year?
Yeah.
And he never lost that locker room. It's it's a powder keg when you have that much talent, that many egos, that many dollar signs, and they still found a way to circumnavigate that. And then once again, like I said, I think it's something that we don't credit Mike McDaniel with, maybe not enough.
I think McDaniel I think he reaches people because he's such a human being. And because he's also faulty like the rest of us, he's not the guy that's going to lose it because you screwed up too also. It's because there are some coaches or some parents or some teachers or some CEOs or some managers that they'll screw up, but they won't take accountability for it. They might lay it on somebody else, or they might make an excuse for it. But then when their employee or their son or their student or their whatever screws up or player, they're going to like ride them 10 times over. You know what I mean? And I think, do you watch Ted Lasso?
Of course, man. The season's been excellent so far.
Did you just watch this week's episode? I don't want to give away too much, but there was a moment where Ted Lasso had an opportunity to go after his assistant coaches this past week, right? Because they majorly screwed up. And he didn't. And like they were pissed that he didn't act like they would act. You know what I mean? And I think that McDaniel is so different in that sense that's why you got that performance in that playoff game. As depleted as they were, even with their third string quarterback, they gave the kind of effort that almost was good enough to win that game. Hell, they might have won that game if maybe McDaniel doesn't, gets that fourth down in time at 4th and 1. And who knows what happens after you convert that fourth down with the momentum they had at that moment. So I think him being so human really helps him keep that locker room and keep today's players, because 30, 40, 50 years ago, they could handle all that tough love and it would roll off somebody's back. In today's world, tough love is not necessarily handled the right way.
No, like especially with today's athlete, with this generation of athlete and people, like the days of just doing what you're told are gone. They're gone because like nobody's just gonna say how high when you tell them to jump. They want to know why. That is the critical thing is the why. Tua is not difficult to coach. Tua doesn't need to be coddled. Tua needs to know the why. Tua needs to understand why you're asking him to do things, why you're hard, like why that you care for him, that you care about him, and then he will, I was gonna say bend over backwards, but like I don't want to be insensitive here. I don't mean anything by it. But you said like he will give everything he's got. You know what I mean? Like he'll put his body on the line for you. He will go the extra mile. He will show up to the stadium 6 hours before kickoff to run through scripts if he knows that you've got your back. If you knows that he's got or you've got his back. Excuse me. But I get the Ted Lasso comparison. I will say like the comparison between the similarities between McDaniel and Ted Lasso probably begin and end with their quirky personalities because Mike McDaniel will light your ass up if need be. Don't get me wrong. We have sat in those stands and we have listened to him MF his players, his coaches, whatever, whoever, when the time calls for it. But I think he's done such a good job of establishing the why and establishing the what. They're establishing the why so that his players will follow the what. They know, okay, he's got my best interest at heart. So even when I'm getting chewed out, even when I'm getting grilled, like he is, there's a reason. And he doesn't like not care about me anymore as a person. He doesn't just see me as a deteriorating asset. I'm a person first and then a football player. And he's going to try to put me in best position to succeed. But yeah, no, man, the jumping how high and all this like 1950s, 60s military
that's done.
That's dead.
Yeah.
No mas.
That's not going to happen anymore. That's not the way people are wired anymore, that they just do whatever you say and they're not worried about any kind of repercussions to anything. The why is always being asked now, like you perfectly mentioned. Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft was asked that if Belichick struggles and doesn't produce a winning season over the next year or two, is he going to stick around just to beat Shula's record? And Kraft was like, well, we don't keep players around just for stats. They need to be productive. So the question I have for you is, and obviously everybody in the Dolphin Nation doesn't want to see him beat Shula's record. He's 30 games behind Shula, so he would need at least 3 10-winning seasons to tie him. It doesn't look like they're headed in those kind of directions anymore, to be quite honest. And we saw the league move away from Chuck Noll after winning 4 titles, Don Shula after winning a couple titles, Tom Landry after winning titles. We have watched Bill Belichick throughout his career get off the gravy train before players, fall off. And he's so good at that. So why wouldn't Robert Kraft do that if Bill Belichick is not productive over the next 2 years and does not have winning seasons and does not have a quarterback? Should he part ways, or should he just hang on for several years until that record is passed?
See, I've got a perfect analogy for this. There was a Bennett Brothers little mini documentary a few years back, and Martellus Bennett was discussing a fight he had with Brandon Marshall. And he said during the exchange, Bennett says, "Do you want to talk? Or you want to fight?" And Brandon Marshall said, "Hey, I'm a 3-time Pro Bowler." And Bennett goes, "Brandon, 3-time Pro Bowlers can get knocked out too." Bill Belichick is a 6-time, right? 5-6-time Super Bowl winner. 5-6-time Super Bowl winners can get fired too. He gets a leash. You know what his leash was? His leash was bringing Matt Patricia and Joe Judge in to run the offense last year, despite having a combined one season as an offensive assistant. Not a coach, not a position coach, as an offensive assistant. That was his leeway. That was okay, you're Bill Belichick. We're going to let you cook. We're going to let you do what you want. They quickly learned, no, that was dumb. That doesn't work. Your leash is done. It's like when Morty decides he wants to cross the street, without me, across the street with cars coming. I click that button and pull back. That's what happened to Bill Belichick this offseason. Now, there's these reports of whether or not he's getting along with Mac Jones and that the Patriots were shopping Mac Jones. Mac is trying to go over Bill's head and try to understand the offense last season. I mean, I believe every single thing happening out of New England. I believe every single thing because he has not proven. I think the most impressive thing Belichick has done without Tom Brady was the Matt Castle season and making the playoffs Mac Jones' first year.
Yeah, the only problem I have with that Matt Castle season, to be quite honest, go look at that roster. Roster was freaking loaded, bro.
But that's my point, though. That's my point. Like without Brady at quarterback, those are his crown accomplishments.
Right.
Those are his crowning accomplishments. The Cam Newton year was a freaking disaster. Disaster on offense. Even the Mac Jones rookie year was not a good season on offense. Like, he has struggled to put together an offensive team or any semblance of an offense without Tom Brady at the helm. So it's starting to and then look what Tom did. 1 year without him. Shit, I'm going to the Super Bowl. I'm winning that. So I think that the sheen of Bill Belichick is starting to wear off a little bit. And you said he's how many games behind Don Shula? 38 games?
30.
30?
30.
That's going to take the Patriots 4 years at least.
At
least.
Yeah.
In this division? Yeah. Especially if this Aaron Rodgers trade goes through?
Yeah, he's the 4th team.
What did they've done what to get better this offseason?
They may go 1-5 or 0-6 in the division, bro. I mean, Tua owns his ass, and the Bills are better. So, and if the Jets get a quarterback, they should beat them twice also. You know what I mean? It's literally, I don't know if they'll be lucky to win one. If Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets, they'll be lucky to get one win in the 6 games in that division.
It's looking funny in the light. Their free agency decisions have been questionable at best. I had a source in the Patriots locker room after the 2020 season, which is the first year after Brady. Mm-hmm. And at the season-ending meeting, Bill Belichick told his team, we did not have enough talent this year. That will never happen again. And that's the offseason that they went out and they spend money on Jonnu Smith. They spend money on Hunter Henry. They spend money on Matt Judon. They bring all these players in. They spend money on freaking Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne. They're spending all this money. But for what? Matt Judon has been a success. Every other dollar they spent has gone to what?
Yeah, no.
Bringing Joe Judge and Matt Patricia back? Bringing Trent Brown back? It's signing Juju Smith-Schuster as wide receiver 1. You know what I mean? I actually do like Mike Gesicki up there. I like Mike Gesicki up there because Bill just has this antiquated, archaic mentality that you have to have multiple tight ends involved in the passing game. Just because he wants to tap that Gronkowski, Aaron Hernandez years, and that's not how it works. And it helps
your quarterback too. If your quarterback is not a great quarterback, a couple tight ends will help him because he's actually a conservative player. If you watch Mac Jones, he really doesn't open it up much, so he's not really going to be throwing downfield a ton. And so, high percentage passes to the tight end. So I can understand why he's using a couple of tight ends for Mac Jones because you got to pass a lot to your running backs and your tight ends when you don't have a great quarterback.
Yeah, what helps a quarterback? Getting Stephon Diggs. What helps a quarterback? Getting Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. What helps a quarterback is drafting Garrett Wilson and trading for Devontae Adams and all this shit. Like,
Marino had the Marx Brothers. Yeah, it doesn't matter who you are. Joe Montana had Rice and Taylor, and
yeah, I'd be mad. I'd be kind of mad if unless they plan on running Gesicki as a wide receiver and running him out wide. If I'm Mac Jones and I'm thinking like, wow, that's what you think of me? Like, this is what we're headed toward again? We're running this 2008 ass offense again? Like, that's no wonder he's trying to circumnavigate Bill Belichick. And like, yeah, there's a great point in the comments here that like, hey, if the Patriots fire him or if they move on from him, career wins are career wins, right? Like, he can go break the record with some other team probably.
I don't think another team is going to hire him.
But like,
actually, because he's going to want control, and he's proven that he does not deserve control. Actually, he's proven that over and over again that he doesn't deserve control. He's not very good when it comes to personnel. He's actually mediocre.
I think that Josh McDaniels had a massive impact on what that offense has been able to do under Bill Belichick. He is, to this day, we're not going to disrespect him. He's, to this day, the greatest defensive mind in NFL history.
Sure.
We're not going to cap here.
Of
Greatest
course.
defensive mind in NFL history.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean you get full control. That doesn't mean teams going to want to pay $20 million plus to have you completely rework the team at, how old is he? 70s?
70? Yeah, he's like 70 now. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder like how much is that? I think history motivates Bill. Just what I know, what I've spoken with, what I've read from our reporter up there, Mike Reese. I think history and all that, like, it matters to him. So I could see a scenario in which he goes all out for this record and he tries until he gets it. I don't think he retires voluntarily before he hits that record. But I do think that like the past few years have tarnished a bit his ability, the concept, the notion that he is a master general manager. You remember, it used to be a time where you think it's like the Spurs. It was like the Spurs, where there used to be a time where if the Patriots are trying to trade for somebody, if Patriots are calling about one of your players, you got to have a meeting amongst yourselves and say, hey, what are we missing here?
Right.
What are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong? Now they're trading third round picks for Devontae Parker. So it looks a little funny in the light as of late, not to take anything away from his legacy, but yeah, as of late, Bill Belichick, looks a little funny when you shine the light on it. When you get the diamond tester out, I don't know if the lights are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
I'm with you there. Follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ. And, of course, catch his work there at ESPN. What are you working on so folks can check you out, my friend?
I believe I wrote this before I went on vacation. I believe it posted today, but I hope it did. Story on Braxton Berrios, how, he's, despite the down year last season, he is still he should be the man in line, the man in waiting as the Dolphins wide receiver 3 this coming season out of a group of guys that kind of underwhelmed, I should say, statistically last season. With Cedric Wilson, with Eric Izukama, with River Craycraft. But I think Berrios, it's low-hanging fruit, but I think Berrios is there's a wide open window for him to have one of the better, more efficient seasons of his career. It's also insane, man, that on a team with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, your punt returner is the best punt returner on the team is Braxton Berrios. And that's a testament to how good he is. That's no disrespect to anybody named. Also, we got Tyreek Hill's youth camp coming up tomorrow. Tua's luau, the Tua Foundation luau coming up on Monday. A lot of giving back coming up over the next couple of days. Hopefully can go be in attendance at both events.
All right, there you go. Follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ. Marcel, have a great weekend, my friend. We'll catch up next week. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And good to have you back. There
Absolutely.
you go. Marcel Louis Jacques, baby. And call my friends at Welt and Rheaume wherever you live here in Florida. So we've got even listeners in Orlando hiring Welt and Rheaume. 954-966-4646. Dade, Broward, Palm Beach counties. We've got an office in the Keys also. Sean and I actually going to be doing a show down in the Keys in the near future. Looking forward to that. Welt and Rheaume, 954-966-4646. Bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. They do it all. And tell them that Big O sent you. Welt and Rheaume.
This has been another session of the Welt and Rheaume Miami Dolphins Report with Marcel Louis-Jacques. At Welt and Rheaume, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welt and Rheaume can help.
Right, all right. AH360, thank you for the love on the super chat. Although he asked a question that is a little touchy for some. He says, Biden expanded Title IX this week to enable men to compete in women's sports, and no one in sports media has the courage to discuss it. Well, I've discussed this in the past before. I'm not a fan of any of this because, look, man, I respect everyone in the LGBT community. I appreciate everyone in that community. Like they're just like we are. We're all human beings. We're all different shapes and sizes and colors and nationalities and sexualities and all of that. And we're all the same. Okay. We might be a little different. We might have different, needs. We might have different likes. Whatever it is, that's fine. But however you came into this world, it's what you are physically. Now, emotionally, you may feel like you're a different person and you have the right to be the person you want to be. Okay? But if you came into the world as a boy and not a girl and you want to convert, that's your right. And I respect all of that. But unfortunately, they gave you men's parts and body parts. So you have an advantage over women. So you cannot compete with women. Even though you may feel feminine, that's your right. You can do that. I have no problem with that. I find all this stuff that goes on with the LGBT community to be absolutely unfair with healthcare and all the stuff that DeSantis and others are doing. It's disgusting what they're doing. It's gross because you're mistreating another human being because they're different from you. But where I disagree on this part is, dude, if you got male parts, then you're better than a woman. Sorry, women, but you're not going to be ever faster than males. You're not going to be stronger than males. You're not going to be a better athlete than males on average. That's just the way it goes. So you cannot be competing because deep inside, your muscular body is still better than a woman's. So yeah, I'm not big on that. But then again, you got a Dem in office, bro. The problem is your Republicans are morally corrupted and your Democrats are totally soft. So, you don't win with either side. It's two extremes. One's way too harsh and the other one's way too soft. It's the way it goes. What are you going to do, man? But it is what it is. And I'm not a fan of it, to be quite honest, because it gives that person an advantage over the females in competitions. Those are the facts, unfortunately. And so I would never allow a male to compete in a female competition. That's not the right thing to do. You're not giving an even level playing field to the ladies that are in that competition. The former male has the opportunity to win every time, pretty much. So yeah, it's not something that's right. Unfortunately, that's the part that you have to go by. You know what I mean? And again, nothing personal against anybody. I'm not for a lot of the negativity that's going on against the LGBT community. I think it's not fair. But this part of the competition, yeah, that gives you an edge. No doubt about it. So it is what it is. So what are you going to do? Big D says the best thing that happened to Belichick was stumbling onto Tom Brady when Bledsoe got hurt. He was on his way to another 5-11 season. Exactly. Emilio, all humans are equal. Government creates the hate and division, but call a spade a spade. Exactly. Dougie Fresh says, first, the amendments are proposals. Second, these are about protection rights that existed before Yaman. I do not think it confirms that transgender athletes are the same. I will read. Yeah, I just don't. I just think that once you've got male parts, you've got the advantage. That's it, bro. You have the advantage, and I don't think you should be allowed in the same competition. It's not fair. But that's just me. That's my opinion. And I don't really care if you agree or disagree. Like I normally don't care. I don't worry about hurting Republicans or Democrats' feelings. I never worry about that here because I don't care about either side. So, anyway, Big O sounds like the Three Bears and their bed's fable. I miss the days of the moderate left and moderate right where consensus and agreement was possible. Yeah, that doesn't exist. We've allowed the extremes to hurt the left and the right, unfortunately. But what are you going to do, ladies and gentlemen? We just got to try to get through it. That's all we can do, man. It's all we can do. By the way, Sports Grill, you're going to watch MMA fights this weekend. The Marlins, the Panthers, the Heat in action. Sports Grill, great place to go. They've always got specials going on. They've got great meals like the buttermilk chicken sandwich is awesome. You can take their hot sauces home now. The buffalo sauce, the Miami Heat, the blackberry, the dale, the barbecue. I'm telling you, man, you got to check it out. And the Doral location is open. If you haven't been to the Doral location, you got to go check it out. It's right on 87th Avenue. It's about a mile north on 87th Avenue of the golf course. And it's a gorgeous place. Go to sportsgrill.com. Check out any of the 8 great locations. That way you know which one you want to go to that's closest to you. Monday, they've got the $7 single smash burger. Tuesdays, $2 tacos, chicken, beef, or fish. Wednesdays, the kids eat for free when the adult buys an entree. Man, Sports Grill, just a great place to enjoy all your local sports. Enjoy a great meal with friends and family members at sportsgrill.com. Hour number 3 is next. Scott Pianowski will join us on the other side.
Welt and Rheaume has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welt and Rheaume, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welt and Rheaume can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welt and Rheaume can help. Call 954-966-4646. When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. While the NFL plans for the 2023 season, the Big O Radio Show keeps you informed by tracking everything from free agency, trades, draft, and all the news you can handle. It's the SportsGrill.com Dolphins and NFL Draft Report with Yahoo Sports' Scott Pianowski.
All right, there he is. He's back, baby. How you feeling? You feeling good?
Yeah, better, man. It was a rough couple of weeks, but April's here. The weather's warming up. Got the Masters. Hopefully, gonna stay dry for a couple of days, and baseball's back. Football, NFL draft is not far away. Spirit is good.
Yep. A little quiet on the free agent front. So let me ask you, leading up to the draft, if you're number one, are you taking Stroud or are you taking Young?
I'm taking CJ Stroud. I know there have been shorter quarterbacks who have been successful, but that doesn't mean that that's the ideal. It just means it's doable. Now, it can be difficult to figure out how good Stroud's going to be because the talent, not that Young lacked for playmakers at Alabama, but the receivers in Ohio State are so good. It can be difficult to figure out how much of this is CJ Stroud, how much of it is the coaching, how much of it is the conveyor belt at wide receiver. I mean, if you're going to scout wide receivers in college football, you watch Ohio State games because they just get wide receivers coming out of their ears to the point that Jameson Williams had to leave Ohio State and go to Alabama to get playing time, which is just crazy, right? And then Jameson Williams becomes a star in his own right. I'm curious to see what he does in his first real season this year. But Stroud would be my guy at number one.
Okay. All right. That's because Mort already reported that they're going to take Bryce Young at number one. And I like Bryce Young, but dude, I like Stroud better. I just think I love his accuracy, actually. I think he's pretty accurate. And to me, that's just one of those things that I tend to gravitate to. I love accurate quarterbacks. To me, that's something that's what makes you elite is accuracy, anticipatory skills, ball placement, all those kind of things. You got to have enough of an arm, but I don't need you to have a rocket of an arm or cannon. That's not necessary in order to succeed. As long as you have a strong enough arm, it's the other things that I just talked about. Those are the things that make you elite. And when I see Stroud's accuracy, that's what maybe has the potential of being a really good quarterback.
When you're going down that list, two guys immediately popped into my mind who did not have bazookas, but were both very successful. One of them more than another because one guy got hurt a lot. I first thought of Chad Pennington, who never had a great arm, but again, it was the ball placement, the ability to read a play, and then of course Drew Brees, and he was a shorter quarterback too. He never would have had the strongest arm in the league or anything close to it.
Montana didn't have an arm either, bro.
No. Even Brady. I mean, Brady didn't have a bad arm, but Brady was not John Elway.
Peyton Manning didn't have a gun either, bro.
Peyton Manning didn't throw a spiral.
Yeah,
Peyton Manning threw these little wobbly ducks. Yeah,
he might have been 6'5" or whatever, but he didn't have a cannon. Yeah. He had a decent arm, bro. But again, anticipatory, ball placement, accuracy. He was elite in those areas,
Right. I mean, then you have a guy like Jay Cutler who could throw the ball through the car wash and not get it wet, but didn't check all the other boxes. So he had, an okay career, but probably goes down as a disappointment. Granted, plenty of strong arm quarterbacks are in the Hall of Fame, Terry Bradshaw, John Elway, but it doesn't. That to me is I can live without the arm strength. And people talk about what were the miles per hour at the combine? People want to know about that, and sometimes it's a hot point of the draft. It's going to be a fun draft too because there's so many different opinions on quarterback. We don't even have a consensus. You and I would take somebody different at number one. That sounds like who may go number one. There's a lot of different opinions about Anthony Richardson. It's going to be a fun draft because a lot of teams need quarterbacks. There's going to be a lot. There's been a lot of trading already, and it's going to be more. And that's how a team can get set up, right? I mean, look at what Seattle's done with their stockpiling of picks, what Chicago's done with their stockpiling of picks. We know Miami's in a pick deficit because they've lost the pick recently, but the NFL draft just never disappoints. It's in fact, I will even rewatch Jerry Maguire. I might even rewatch Draft Day, which I think is kind of a pretty bad movie, but they both focus on the NFL draft. What's that?
Draft Day is not that good.
No, it's not. I think Jerry Maguire's rewatchable though, and it's very
yes.
It's not my favorite Cameron Crowe movie, but it's a good one. And obviously a lot of it centers around the NFL draft and a quarterback going number one. And so I usually fire that up about once a year around this time.
I enjoyed Moneyball 1,000 times more than the Browns one. What'd you say? What were the
Draft day. You could only kind of like Draft Day in a hate watch sort of way. It's not a movie to be taken seriously.
Did you enjoy Moneyball?
For sure. I mean, Philip Seymour Hoffman's my favorite actor of all time, and it's a great story. The Oakland A's, I don't know why they couldn't win a championship. Now, granted, Moneyball, both the book and the movie.
Well, remember the problem was that they didn't see when the guy in the Cubs and the Red Sox,
Joe Epstein.
Epstein, right? See, Epstein literally added money to the Moneyball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I get it. Moneyball is actually the opposite, where you're trying to find guys that don't make money, that but can get you the stats and those kind of things. So I understand the gist of Moneyball, but see, Theo looked at it and said, "Okay, no, I like that, except I'm going to add money to it, and then I'll win." You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah, you want both. You want to be smart with how you spend, but also have a lot of money to spend, for sure.
Exactly. You want to be smart in getting the highly efficient player that you're going to have to pay money to. But yeah, that's the guy, not the efficient player that's kind of under the radar and that kind of stuff. Like in Moneyball, that they got 3 guys together to make Giambi, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, it's but I got to tell you, man, I enjoy the hell out of Moneyball. Every time I watch it, or if I run into it when I'm channel surfing, I'll just find myself stopping there, because I thought Brad Pitt did a really, really good job of playing the Billy Bean role. I thought that was really cool.
Moneyball, very rewatchable. But as you said, it's nice to have resources. I mean, the way, ideally, the way you run a baseball team is you overpay the top, small percentage of your roster, and then you make all the surplus money back on the guys who aren't making any money yet.
Right.
And so people might say, well, how could you pay that guy $250 million in free agency or whatever? You're not trying to make money on that deal. You're going to make that money back on the players who don't have any agency yet, and you can underpay them in the early parts of their career. My one quibble, and this is
by the way, that's been Tampa's and Oakland's, downfall, that
for sure
they don't add money to their exceptional baseball decisions, because they do make great baseball decisions overall. But if they had just enough money to add a couple of stars on top of the baseball decisions that they make, they would probably already have titles.
For sure. You could argue Tampa Bay really is the version of Moneyball now, where they're trying to play smart, but they don't have the spending that other teams do. My one quibble with, and read the book and watch the movie anyway and enjoy it. And I don't want to be literal guy, or, it's not completely true. But my one quibble with Moneyball is both the book and the movie is they spend so little time talking about the fact that the A's had 3 great pitchers in Mulder and Zito. They had the 2003 American League MVP award winner in Miguel Tejada, and they also had Eric Chavez, who before he got hurt was probably on a Hall of Fame trajectory. So this wasn't all Scott Hanneberg and platoon guys and middle relievers and stuff. I mean, they had star power on that team, and it gets downplayed in both the book and the movie. But still, as you said, Brad Pitt knocks it out of the park. Brad Pitt's just a movie star. He's just anything he's in is generally enjoyable to watch. Jonah Hill is really well cast. I love Philip Seymour Hoffman and his supporting roles are how. Yeah, it's a great movie, and also it looks like a baseball movie, right? I mean, when they're talking to David Justice, or the guy playing David Justice taking batting practice, whoever that actor is ripped. The guy's hitting line drives in the batting cage. A lot of times sports movies don't look. I mean, I love Bull Durham, but come on, Tim Robbins is a baseball pitcher. He looks like he's not coordinated at all, right? Moneyball at least cares about getting the baseball right.
Yeah, but see, here's the difference, right? But now we got to be honest now, okay? Bull Durham was filmed at a time when conditioning wasn't really that top notch like it is now, because Bull Durham was filmed in the 80s, bro. So back in the 80s, we still had players that went to training camp, bro, smoking cigarettes and drinking beer. And then that's when they started to lose weight, when they started spring training, or when they started training camp in football, or whatever it was, because back in the 80s, that's kind of what you did. So it's a little bit more believable that some of those guys may not look in great shape. Nowadays, athletes are completely different. Nowadays,
that's a fair argument, but Tim Robbins looks like he has no athletic coordination. Right. I mean, at least Kevin Costner is athletic, right? I mean, he looks like a jock. he's believable as an athlete, and he's obviously been in a lot of sports movies. We did a few episodes ago. You and I did a segment which was almost entirely sports movies. People should go back and listen to that. And one of our takeaways was that everybody should watch North Dallas 40, which is a hidden gem. But Bull Durham, Ron Shelton. You can't go wrong with Ron Shelton movies. He also did Tin Cup, which is I think a fascinating movie.
God,
there it was hard for Costner because he wasn't a great golfer, and they had to make his golf swing believable. And they did the best they could. They were never going to make Costner look like Fred Couples. That's fine. And so he had kind of an abbreviated little herky-jerky swing. So they said, well, Tim McAvoy played in West Texas. He had to play the ball down because it was windy. That's the way they wrote the story to fit the fact that Costner just didn't have a PGA Tour swing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how many of us do? You know
do you have a PGA Tour swing, Big O?
No.
Are you a golfer at all? By the way, I don't even know if you do. You play.
No, what I do is not called golfing. No. I go screw around with a cigar and a beer, and then I spray the ball all over the place. And yeah, I'm not the guy that takes it serious in the foursome. I'm the guy screwing around.
I like golf. Once I learned to not take golf seriously, I started to enjoy it more.
Exactly.
I have some ability, but nothing. Whatever. It's the most important thing you can do in life is get over yourself and realize, look, I'm never going to be a PGA Tour pro. I'm never going to be the best player in my club or anything like that. I'm just trying to have some fun with my friends, have a drink, laugh at each other. And the great thing about golf, no matter how bad you are, you'll kick it around for a few hours. You're going to hit one magical shot and be like, oh, well, I can't wait to play tomorrow.
Exactly, dude. Yes, exactly. And that's me. I just want to screw around, and I know I'm not good at it, and I'm not going to try to be good at it because it's too difficult for me to be really good at it. Now, let's go to the putt-putt range. I'll kick your ass. Okay? That's it. I'll get it right through the windmill and hit the damn hole and everything, and I'll figure out the bumper and the angle to get it past the brick in the middle or whatever. Putt-putt, I'm kicking some ass, but regular golfing, bro. No, I'm not.
Putting is a great equalizer, man.
Yeah. It's I actually have a putting green in my house.
Do you really?
Yeah, we got artificial turf in our backyard, and then on the side of my house, it's like it's about 15 yards, and it's a whole putting green with a couple holes, and so the wife and I go out and probably do it a little bit this weekend. We'll go out in the backyard, mess around, and have a couple of drinks and talk and work on the short game.
You were you've been night putting, is that what you're saying?
Night putting, day putting, putting around all over the place. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Remember Caddyshack, it was Chevy Chase's old roommate who was thrown out of college because he was night putting. Putting at night with the daughter of the dean.
Exactly. Yes. So all kinds of putting going on in the Alzigari household. All right. So I got a question for you. Mm-hmm. Kraft was asked this week if Bill Belichick, if he struggles again and doesn't make the playoffs, it'll be 3 out of 4 years. And what if he is not doing well over the next couple of years? Is he going to stick around just to beat Don Shula's record? Obviously, nobody down here wants to see that, but he is 30 games behind Don Shula. That's going to take probably at least 4 to 5 seasons, considering that this team is not that good. And it looks like if Rodgers goes to the Jets, the entire division has passed up the Patriots. So if you're Robert Kraft, do you do to Belichick what Belichick never did to his players? Because he never hung on to players. He always got off the gravy train before the gravy train was done.
A year early, yeah.
So what does Robert Kraft do in this case?
I think it's headed to an ugly divorce. And I would even argue, no matter what the Jets do, I think the Patriots have the weakest roster in the AFC East. Because remember, the Jets are loaded everywhere else. They have a terrific roster. They don't have quarterback solved yet. And man, Aaron Rodgers, that story's never going to end. Between Lamar Jackson and Aaron Rodgers, it feels like this has been going on for 5 years where these guys are going to play. I just wish they'd get it resolved. It sure feels like the Packers and the Jets and Rodgers should all figure it out. And I don't know why they haven't yet. A lot of times the draft is an elixir for that stuff to happen. But there's a line from Cocktail, another movie that's like a bad movie, but you can watch it and enjoy it because it's bad, where Brian Brown, the mentor to Tom Cruise, says, "Look, everything ends." But isn't badly.
Elizabeth Shue in that movie?
Oh, she's adorable, isn't she? Yes, she is.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Elizabeth Shue being in a movie can be bad. If you get to enjoy her for 90 minutes.
She's delightful. She's not in the movie all that much. And actually, you could even argue the parts she's in, no fault of her own, are the weaker parts of the movie. Because I think the best parts of Cocktail are the scenes with Cruz and Blair Brown.
True.
But or Brian Brown, I forget what that actor's name is. But anyway, the mentor says in the movie, he's all these Coughlin's laws. And one of them is everything ends badly or else it wouldn't end. And that's how I feel about Belichick and Kraft. There's no John Elway, Super Bowl on the way out, have a parade. And even John Elway, it ended bad for him and the Broncos. They've quietly let him go. He's no longer even a consultant with the team.
I know.
He was the GM for about a decade. He was part of getting Manning there. He's been on the payroll for a couple of years. They finally kind of quietly let him go. So everything ends badly, Big L, or else it wouldn't end. I think this is going to end badly for Belichick and Kraft.
Shula, Chuck Noll, Tom Landry.
For sure. It ended badly for all
Did any of them end nicely? No, they were kind
Tony
of
La Russa, Hall of Fame baseball coach. He embarrassed himself in Chicago.
He
goes on and on. Franco Harris on the Seahawks.
Yeah, but Tony La Russa does some things that you shouldn't be doing. Okay. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Franco Harris on the Seahawks. Willie Mays falling down in the outfield. It's even Brady, right? I mean, losing season his last year. I know they made the playoffs because the division was horrible. You think Brady doesn't wish he went out on the Super Bowl year or the playoff loss to the Rams the next year where he still had great stats? He was a compromised guy last year. Otherwise, man, San Francisco and Brady still looks like a really good fit for me because that infrastructure is so good. But here's the question to me is that if Kraft makes it known that he wants it, he'll probably go to Bill and say, look, let's end this amicably. We don't want to embarrass you. You're a legend. You owe so much to you. And Belichick's a stubborn guy. He'll probably be like, well, he probably won't go along for that, I would guess, in a year or two. Does Belichick go coach some lousy team just to get – remember, back to Bull Durham, right? Bull Durham goes to play for like the Memphis Taurus to break the home run record, the minor league home run record. He just holds on long enough to do it. Pete Rose held out long enough, hitting 235 for the Cincinnati Reds to get the hit record. He was willing to play for the Montreal Expos briefly before that fell apart, and he brokered a deal back to the Reds so he could end his career with a little bit of dignity. And then, of course, he threw up all over himself with the gambling problems and trying to stonewall that. I still think if Pete Rose just apologized and showed contrition for like 8 seconds, America would love him. But what made him great kind of took him down. Would Bill Belichick go coach a lousy football team to pass Don Shula?
Will a team bring Bill Belichick on knowing that he has been so bad with personnel and he's going to want complete personnel control? And that's the question I have, that as great as he's been, I don't know if somebody's going to give him another chance, only because if you're honest with yourself, you don't want him handling personnel. Can his ego handle that when you tell him, well, Bill, maybe we can hire you, but you can't be in charge of personnel here? Because I think that's what's going to stop him from getting another job, because he's going to want control. And if you have any common sense, you don't give him control in personnel.
Don't forget that the NFL is full of recycling. The NFL would rather recycle any old idea than try something new. And if some team, think back to the Buccaneers when they won that first championship, where they kind of went as far as they could go with Tony Dungy, and they needed somebody to kick the door down. I actually think John Gruden is one of the most overrated coaches in NFL history, but he was the right guy to come in and put them over the cliff, right? Maybe now this would never happen with the Jets because Belichick and the Jets have bad blood, but let's just pretend that didn't happen. And for whatever reason, Robert Saleh doesn't work out, and the Jets are like, oh, we're so close. Who could push us over the cliff? Now, there's so much bad blood. This would never happen between Belichick and the Jets. But if there's another team out there, I don't know, maybe the Lions, miss the playoffs by one game again. And they think, okay, we've gone as far as Dan Campbell can take us. Maybe Belichick coached the Lions a million years ago as one of their seventh assistant on the staff or whatever. Somebody will talk themselves into it, right? It doesn't matter what you do. Somebody will keep Rick Pitino for all the misdeeds he's done. St. John said, okay, well, the guy wins. We want Rick Pitino. There's always going to be he only takes one team. And I still think Belichick is an amazing coach. As you said, his fatal flaw is that he doesn't have somebody to talk him out of a bad idea. He's been given too many things to do. He's spread too thin. He needs that consigliere. He needs little Steven next to Tony Soprano. And right now he doesn't have that.
I'm with you there, man. By the way, what's it called? Damn it. What was I gonna ask you now? I forgot that what was I gonna ask you? Jesus. What was I gonna say? Oh, your thoughts on Tyreek Hill talking about retirement 3 years from now.
The NFL every season is like a dog year season. It's just crazy for anybody to say that, because for all I know, he could retire sooner. He could retire 3 years later. It just you shouldn't make any long-term plan in the NFL. It's just not a long-term league. It's a year-to-year league.
I'm with you there. Although I got to say something. He is smart because he wants to get into the gaming business, and the gaming business is going to explode now.
It's exploding. That's
with
a
the
money
metaverse
printer.
and Web3 and the blockchains and all these projects that are coming out now. It is just absolutely going to explode. So he's pretty smart. I was at the drone racing league here in Miami, and he was there, racing one of the drones before the big race.
I bet on
And
Tyreek
again,
Hill over the drone. That's
right.
my bet.
Yeah, and it's like really smart of him to be in the drone racing league and going out there and kind of exposing himself to that kind of market. So if you're going to go somewhere after football, gaming is pretty smart on his part.
For sure. It's going to explode. It's already exploded. And it's only going to get bigger as more and more states, as we've seen the walls get knocked down. The Internet Gaming Act got repealed a couple of years ago, and I mean, look, the funny thing is, I mean, I'm in favor of gaming as long as you do it responsibly and everything, but it's so obtrusive, you can't get away from it. Everywhere on my social media, I'm just being told, oh, you can bet on this, you can bet on this, you can bet on this. And I grew up at the track. I grew up in poker games. I'm favorable to this stuff, and even I'm like feeling like it's been shoved down my throat a little bit too much. But yeah, Tyreek Hill knows where the league is headed. And look, the NFL, right? The NFL has always had a buoyancy based on two things: people love gambling and people love fantasy football. And so what that means is you can have the two worst teams in the NFL playing on a Thursday night, and that game will be the highest rated thing on television. Doesn't matter if there's a big NBA game that night, or doesn't matter if there's a big college football game. People will watch the two lousiest teams in the NFL. And why? Because there's two built-in things that people will always care about.
Yeah, and there'll be a lot of action in Vegas. No doubt about that. All right, what do you got going on Yahoo so folks can check you out, my friend?
Sure. A lot of baseball this time of year, and also the Yahoo Fantasy Football Forecast. Matt Harmon is our regular host. I was on this week to talk about what the Lions might do. They have 2 first-round picks, ton of content coming up with the NFL draft and the fantasy football game. I don't know the exact date, but we generally open it right after the NFL draft. So if you're eager to get started for your 2023 season, there's no wrong time to get going. We have you covered at Yahoo Sports.
There you go. And follow him on Twitter at Scott_Pianowski. Scotty, as always, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you immensely. Have a great weekend.
Great to talk to you, Big O. Be good.
Thank you, sir. There you go. Sports Grill, 8 great locations, baby. Find the one nearest you and enjoy some great food with your friends and family members and some great sports at Sports Grill all throughout South Florida.
This is the SportsGrill.com Dolphins and NFL Draft Report with Yahoo Sports' Scott Pianowski. Cheer on your favorite South Florida sports team at SportsGrill.com. With 8 great locations, go to SportsGrill.com and find a slice of sports heaven.
All right. What else do we have here? Wow Printing says, my mom's cousin's husband wrote the screenplay for Cocktail. I think I met him once. Wow. All right. Oh, as a lifetime A's fan, our problem is possums in the press box. That was a big ass possum too, man. That was in that press box that day. Big. You remember that picture? That was scary, dude. You know what I do remember from watching Moneyball the other day? The green hat with the yellow or gold A's on it. You know what I'm talking about? The all green hat with the gold A's logo on it. That is one of the best hats out there. It's so sharp, dude. It's so simple. But that green color is not like a normal green color. You know, it has like this, I don't know, it's like this dark neon green like almost, you know, but it's not really neon, but it's like this dark green that has like I don't know what the hell it is. But then the gold of the A's, it's just because what's it called? This guy was wearing it in Moneyball. The dude with the goatee. No, not Brad Pitt. The other guy, Jonah Hill. So Jonah Hill's wearing it, and I looked at it and I go, I'm not an A's fan, but I'm like, dude, that hat is freaking cool. That's just a cool hat, that A's hat. I got to give props to things when they deserve the props. And that A's hat, that is specific one. I'm not talking about any other A's hat. I'm talking about that all dark green one with the gold A's. That shit is awesome, dude. It's a really nice hat. Yes, sir.
The other team, the Tampa Bay Rays, this week,
What
they're
about
6-0, by the way.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, they're always
$6 beers to celebrate, and they're lowering the lower bowl. Going to be for $10 this weekend. So
and they'll still get only 1,000 people there.
probably they're trying. They're trying.
Yeah. If they only added,
So go out and support them to get more money and try to get somebody.
Big O, what's the craziest thing you ever had to eat? As for me, I had raccoon. Well, for me, it was a hot dog from Dairy Queen in the Panhandle 2 months ago. Okay. That was the scariest thing. That was the craziest thing I ever ate. I didn't know it was going to be that crazy, but the hot dog looked normal when they gave it to me. I looked at it and said, okay, it looks like a normal hot dog. And there was nothing normal about that hot dog, bro. Okay. So I'll go with that one. Isais. Oh, heading down to Miami to visit family in July. I hope I can come out for a meet and greet with you and Sean when you plan to be in the Keys. Oh, I got to ask the folks at Welt and Rheaume, because we're going to go down there. They have an office down there, and there's going to be it's like a food jubilee event or something like that we're going to be at. It's going to be some event out there. We'll be having some fun. So we'll be doing that. I forgot what day it is. We're going to the Keys. No,
Emilio, I'm asking, because he's like, I'm coming down to Miami.
But maybe he's going to
be in the Keys.
Maybe he's going to be in the Keys. I don't know.
So is he going to Miami or the Keys? It's two different areas.
I don't know.
It's like, it's like the Dolphins play at South Beach.
Right. EJ Barro, green-eyed lady, lovely lady, strolling slowly towards the sun. Green-eyed lady, ocean lady, soothing every raging wave that comes. There he is. Big O has the Charles Barkley type swing. Yes, I do. Yes, definitely. It's a bad swing, and I'm proud of it. Yes. That hot dog did have some raccoon in it, among other roadkills. Probably, Brett, because it did a number on me. Oh, you got a spiked dog. Yeah. It was spiked or whatever. By the way, did you know that this the last couple months here, we've been hit in this country by 478 tornadoes in 25 states? How about that video I sent you yesterday?
Yeah, no, that was crazy. But you only hear about the ones that are like the massive destruction ones, right?
Right, yeah. Lots of others touch and go.
Yeah, there's some that just come down.
Like that one that I showed you, it didn't really cause any damage. It was just like tearing up some fields.
Yeah.
But it didn't thank the Lord, it didn't go through any houses or buildings or nothing like that. So nobody got injured in that funnel cloud. But wow, the 360 filming of that funnel cloud was badass by that storm chaser.
Dougie's calling you out.
Why? What'd he say? I want to say that for the record, I offered to get you some real food before you left our area. Victoria was mad when she heard about the Dairy Queen dog. Now you have to deal with her. Well, I wish, bro. I wish I would have gone by your place instead. Desperation. Sometimes people do stupid things when they're desperate. And I was desperate, and I did something really, 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 really stupid. God, what a moron I am. But, hey, I got what I deserved, right? You want to be a dumbass and get a hot dog in a Dairy Queen panhandle, then you get what you deserve. You know what I mean? I tell you many times on this show, I don't have a lot of sympathy for stupidity. I don't have any sympathy for myself. I'm sorry. It's just, deep down inside, I knew it was a stupid move. I was thinking, I'll roll the dice and I'll get by, and and I have a pretty strong stomach too overall. Throughout my life, I've been pretty good, even when things don't feel too good, I'll get through it and not get sick. But boy, my God, I felt like The Exorcist. That was bad. Big O, you may consider utilizing Sean as your food tester, like the canary in the mine. See, the problem is that there's no way Sean even tries that. I think even Sean is not as dumb as I am, okay? Sean might be crazy. He might eat some food like, pickled lemonade and, some crazy stuff like that. He might, but I don't think he's as dumb as I am to try a hot dog from.
Here's the thing, though. It's all about the toppings. What did you have on your hot dog? Because I know you're the crazy guy. Go ahead and say it. See? That's where you went wrong. That's where you went wrong.
If I covered it up with relish and or
mustard, sauerkraut, chili, cheese, throw it all on there.
It would have masked it all.
It would have done it.
Okay.
Instead, you throw a little ketchup on there. That's
boring.
That's kids. You want me to cut up your hot dog too? Give you little chunks?
Yeah, that's all I do. Yeah, by the way, I'm super lame. Plus, it's illegal. I hear, right? I'm supposed to go to jail for putting ketchup on a hot dog because I'm told that that's just like blasphemous, of course.
And by the way, I would have ate the dog first. I would have done it. I would have done it. Not with ketchup on it. Not with ketchup on it, though. That's where you went wrong.
Right. That was bad.
I leave here. I go, just stop at a 7-Eleven, grab a chili cheese dog, eat on the way home.
Oh, God.
Come on.
Oh, Pat in Asheville says, I know this great hot dog place for you to try in Durham. I got my plane flight yesterday for Durham. Cheap, too. It was good. And I don't have to rent a car. I sent Pat a message. Hey, do I have to rent a car? But no, it's actually a short Uber drive from my hotel. I did it from the airport to the Carolina Theater, I think is what it's called, where they're performing. Yeah, next month I'm going for the concert. I'm going to Durham, Raleigh, Durham for the Crowded House concert with my man Pat in Asheville.
I went and saw WCW War Games there.
In Raleigh?
In Raleigh, yeah. Not at the I don't think it was but yeah.
No, I doubt that. That's probably a smaller venue.
It was when the Horsemen took on the NWO and Mr. Perfect turned on the Horsemen.
Some arena or something that's there?
Yeah. It was I forgot where they go in Raleigh, Durham. I think it's on the campus there.
Makes sense. Have no idea. It's my first time being in Raleigh, Durham.
Yeah, I was in the military, and we drove up. It was like a 4-hour drive. I didn't think it was that far, and it took forever.
I think I flew into Raleigh, Durham once as a connector. And I just went from one gate to another and then left. I definitely have never been in the town, but I think I did connect once through Raleigh, Durham. I want to say it was one of the years I went to the Senior Bowl. Early years that I made a couple of rookie mistakes, and one of them was making a connecting flight. If I didn't get, and then I learned to get a direct flight to Pensacola or Biloxi or New Orleans to go to the Senior Bowl. I remember that. I think one year I had to connect through Raleigh. I think that's what it was, if I remember correctly. All right, let's do it, baby. The Wolf Pack is ready to be unleashed.
We unleash the Wolf Pack as we get the latest in the NFL and the Miami Dolphins with our KSDT CPA Pro Football Report with NFL Network insider Cameron Wolf. KSDT is one of South Florida's largest and one of the country's fastest growing accounting firms. KSDT CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370. Here's NFL insider Cameron Wolf.
All right. There he is, locked and loaded and ready to go. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good with your pink shirt?
I'm good. It's Easter weekend. Got to bring out the pink for Easter. Good Friday today for those who celebrate. And so, yeah, I'm actually getting ready because I've got TV right after we do Big O show. So I'll be coming on at 1:30 and 2:30 and then again at 2:55. And so got to have my dress suit already ready. I got my suit right here, my tie. And so I hop off from Big O, sew my suit and tie on, and go to the NFL Network in the same spot. So
what are you supposed to be talking about on the NFL Network today?
Yeah, maybe just a little 80s music, a little You would enjoy that. You probably enjoy that more than what I'm actually going to talk about. But no,
probably
this week we're kind of leading up to the draft, and so I will do some Panthers talk. We're doing NFC South talk, so I'll talk some Panthers.
Are you believing Mortensen's report? I mean, Morten's legit as it gets, but he says they're going to take Young, and I would take Stroud, bro. I'm a Stroud. Nothing against Young, but I would take CJ Stroud if I'm the Panthers. I'm taking Stroud number one, bro.
Yeah, I think I haven't heard definitively that they're going to take Bryce Young, but I will say I've heard that the CJ Stroud love, I think when it first came out, the betting odds were like overwhelmingly CJ Stroud. I don't think it's that wide. I think it's a lot closer. And to be real with you, if I was making a mock draft today, I'd probably put Bryce Young number one. Just kind of from my conversations with people I've talked to in Carolina, nobody's told me anything definitively like that. Like, hey, we're taking Bryce. But I know some people in that organization. I've had conversations with them. The big question is, can they get past the height, right? That's the thing with Bryce. Talking with scouts, they believe that he is the most talented and most pro-ready of the quarterbacks, Bryce Young. But he's 5'10", maybe 200 or so pounds soaking wet. And so you have to ask yourself, are we willing to take that risk? Where CJ Stroud's a very good and accurate quarterback, and he's probably the safest of all of these quarterbacks that have a lot of different, potential issues. But do you make the bigger swing, maybe the bigger upside with the Bryce Young? I think that's something that a lot of the Panthers discussions are going on right now. And what's cool about their search, and I'll talk about this more on Network, is it's not a one-man show. A lot of times you have either your owner or your GM or whoever is your guy. It's like, it's my decision. And it might be 7 dudes in the room who think something else, but that one guy is going to turn in the card. Well, they got 9-10 dudes that are very much in the decision-making process. They've been taking like a jet everywhere they go to these pro days, like 11 or 12 deep, and taking them to dinners, each of these quarterback prospects. So they're going to make sure they do their full evaluation. But no, I would not be surprised one bit if Bryce Young's the pick at 1.
I'm with you there. It's crazy that it would be Bryce, but I would check. I would go with Stroud. I'll be interested to see if this does end up happening. Did you see Cater Kohu switch to number 4 now?
It is. May the 4 be with you, or force be with you, whatever you go with. Fourth. There it is. That's it. That's it. I like it. I'm a big single-digit number guy. I love it for a DB. I would say my last year in my junior year in high school, I played high school ball in New Jersey. I got to wear number 2. And it was my favorite number to ever wear. And it took me a while to get it because it's usually an upperclassman number. You have to earn number 2. Usually when you're freshman and junior, you got to get stuck with whatever you're given. And for Cater, he was an undrafted rookie. I'm sure they're like, hey, kid, we got 37 and we've got 39 and we got 46. What do you want? Honestly don't even remember what number Cater was at before.
28.
28. Yeah, okay, there it is. So I didn't know. But like 28 is a decent DB number. That's actually better than most undrafted rookies get. I don't know if he switched after cuts happened or if he got that number, he got lucky. But a lot of times you get the number you're given your rookie year. And now that the NFL is letting you wear single-digit numbers, now that Cater's got a little bit more clout, he's proven that he's a starter. He can prove it. You can wear that 4 with confidence. I don't know if you guys remember, but Trill Williams came in when he first got here, and he was wearing an ugly number. I can't even remember.
51.
that like I think we should one day in the dead of summer when we have nothing to talk about. Sometime in June when we're doing the show, I want to have a segment on worst numbers because I think that 51 is pretty high up there. Like
it's a linebacker, bro.
It is. But even for a linebacker, like I'm trying to think of that's
Brian Cox.
Player. Yeah, what great
Brian
player
Cox, bro. 551 is Brian Cox.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So there's always going to be one. But my thing is that if you're wearing 51 at cornerback, if I'm a quarterback, and goes back to high school, this goes back. If I see you, like I can know nothing about you. I don't read the scouting report at all. But if I see 51 standing out there at corner, guess who I'm throwing the ball to every time?
51.
51 could be your best player, but I'm going to find out because you're wearing 51. So either they don't like you on the team, you showed up late, or you just have no confidence at all. Because 51 is not a number that a cornerback chooses on his own. And so Cater gets to choose his own number, which tells me he's getting a little bit more confident swag about himself. 51 is better for a linebacker. Like you said, Brian Cox, good number for him, not for a cornerback. 28 is a solid number, but 4 is a lot better for Cater. So thumbs up on the jersey number switch.
28, I'm fine with a DB with 28.
Yeah,
that one I'm
fine.
good with.
It's fine. Nobody's going to complain. It's not bad. It's not good. It's fine.
Yeah. Trill's 51 was, but then again, that's what the street free agent gets.
Yeah, you get like what are you going to do? You were the last man in here. You're going to be like, nah, man, I'm not signing unless you give me a 20 number. No, you take what you get. And Trill eventually was able to switch when he made the team where it was looking like he was going to make the team. And I think this year, if he does make the team, he's not going to be wearing 51.
Do we know anything about the guys that were banged up, from Trill Williams to Teron Armstead there were so many guys with injuries. Do we have any update on any of those guys and their progress?
I don't know anything definitive. I know that Nick Needham was progressing towards hopeful to be training camp. I talked to Trill Williams at our locker room cleanout day, or the Dolphins locker room cleanout day. And he told me he thought that he would be able to get started back to running around this time, which is the start of OTAs, but he thought he wouldn't be back on the field until training camp, just to be careful. So, from what he had told me then, I wouldn't expect to see a lot of Trill Williams doing the full drills, but he said he felt like he would be cleared to run and do all of those start elements around this point of the season. And so those are the two guys that I heard the most definitive update for. Rheaume should be back and good to go. A lot of the vets may not be there for OTAs, but he was the other guy for health-wise. I think he'll be good. I remember seeing Liam Eichenberg with a sling on his arm, but I don't think that was something that was going to hold him out of any part of this season. So he should be back good. I'm trying to think who else was injured coming off of last season. Am I missing someone?
No, there were a couple other guys, but I just want to see if
those are the main ones. Yeah, so that's what I know about them. I honestly haven't reached out in the last couple of weeks to get a status update, but kind of from what I last heard, they're all kind of on track to be back on the field, more towards training camp, not necessarily OTAs or minicamp.
All right, good stuff there. The other thing, what do you think the Ravens do? Do the Ravens end up selecting a quarterback? Because the way DaCosta kind of left it open, that you never know. And if you're the Ravens, does it behoove you not to get a quarterback? Maybe you should, because if this situation is only going to get uglier, and I think he's going to hold out, actually. When it's all said, I don't think he's going to get an offer, because he is looking for a lot of guarantees, and I don't think anybody's willing to give him those guarantees, plus the 2 first-rounders that they have to give up. So it becomes a really difficult situation for Lamar to really get the deal he wants. So he may have to sign the tag, but he's not going to want to do that. So if he holds out, and you're the Ravens, and here goes the offseason, and it continues holding out, and you get to the training camp and he's not there, you better have a quarterback. And I know that their backup quarterback is a Pro Bowler, but come on,
Right. I think that Lamar's situation is maybe the most – I know Aaron Rodgers is still out there, but Aaron Rodgers seems like, hey, it's just whoever blinks between the Jets.
The inevitable. Right.
Yeah. Lamar has a lot of different outcomes. This could be, hey, we're going to take this to the death, and we're going into the season with this, and they're still staring at each other. They could all of a sudden, any day now, come to an agreement quietly and we just not know, and bam, Lamar's got a new extension and somebody settled and that's where it is. Or they could figure out a trade at some point. I mean, there's so many different elements. And what's added to the fact is the fact that the Ravens now are talking about the possibility of, oh, we're listening to draft prospects. We could potentially draft a guy in the first round. Maybe some of this is all negotiations and maybe they ultimately wouldn't. But can you imagine if this team, traded up for Anthony Richardson or drafted a Hendon Hooker at the guy. That 16, so if they just sitting there at 16, they could just wait there. Wouldn't even have to trade up. You draft a Hendon Hooker. What does that say? What does that do? That there's a lot of different elements there that makes this,
Although it doesn't say that you're starting him right away either, because he won't be ready to start until halfway through the season is when he might be available to you. At that point. Is when he's going to be healthy. So even the Hendon Hooker won't send the same kind of signals. But if you do get like another quarterback that is healthy and ready to go right from the get-go, oh man, that's going to stir it up right away.
Right. Absolutely. I think I do think at this point it's leverage. But if it and we don't know truly how they feel. If it's got to the point for them where they feel like, hey, this is untenable. Like we've got to prepare ourselves for moving on. Then yeah, I mean that's the final blow. Hey, we're going to decide to move forward on our quarterback situation as if we have to move without you. And so yeah, it makes it stickier. I still, like I said, I still believe the most likely scenario is that the Ravens and Lamar find a way somehow to make it work, even if it's a short term. Hey, we'll give you an increase of the franchise tag for 1 or 2 years, and we'll revisit this conversation next year. Whatever it is, I think they make it work out because there's clearly not a long line of teams that are able to or willing to give him what he wants at this point. And but I may believe that we don't have any indication at this point to show that is imminent.
So Steve Keim, by the way, who drafted Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
And a former general manager who drafted Murray and gave him that big contract. He's no longer with the team. He addressed Murray during an appearance on the Green Light with Chris Long podcast, and Keim reiterated what the right tackle Kevin Beacham said last month. Murray needs to grow up a little bit. He still needs to grow, Keim said on the podcast. He's not a bad guy. He's a good kid, has a good smile, has a nice way about him. I think it's like anything. Guys have to continue to learn what it's going to take to be great. Does he know what Tom Brady and Peyton Manning know, or what it like to be great? No. Does he work? He does work. I think it's just that side of the game, the film study, the attention to detail part of that he needs to continue to improve upon. I think he will. Kyler's a proud guy, a man. He doesn't want to lose, and he doesn't want to let people down.
Yeah. I mean, that's a guy who's been with them. I mean, I will say it's a lot easier to say that when you're not the GM. You don't have.
That GM added a practice clause a study clause to his contract. So that GM was critical of him right from the get-go, and it was weak sauce on that team to then take that out after everybody else found out. Well, hey man, but this is who you are, unfortunately. Protect yourself as a team and put him on the spot. I think it's a little disturbing when your quarterback doesn't come in with a work ethic. I think that has to be automatic in a quarterback at all levels. And then when I think of that, I think of Johnny Manziel. I think of that guy. The day of his workout, he came out in pads and music and all that, and it was like, you're not taking this shit serious. And then when you get to the NFL, you're not taking it serious. And to me, that's a problem when any quarterback is not the hardest worker on your team. That guy should be that coming straight out of college. You should have already had that work ethic if you're going to draft a quarterback. That's just me. Look, you can be raw like Anthony Richardson, but you better be a what's that called? A gym jockey. What is it? A gym rat? Gym rat.
Yes.
You better be a gym rat. Okay. I don't care how raw you are, but you better be super hungry to be great.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so that's the part that, with Kyler has always been a question. It's not the talent, it's the work. And so the problem for the Cardinals, and I've got to go after this because they need me at the top of the 1 o'clock now. So I got 8 minutes. But the thing about Kyler is that the question's never been the talent. It's always been the work, but you've already committed all that guaranteed money to him. So you're essentially asking him to improve on something that you've already paid him not to be. And so that's a dangerous element for the Cardinals, because you can say all you want. Hey, he's got to be more mature. He's got to do that. But it's on him now to do it.
Right.
It's not like, hey, if he does this, we'll reward him. You've already rewarded him for what he was. And so now you're hoping that the self-motivation, the pressure, the comments in the media help it click. And I think that's why they're saying it. It's like, man, we have no leverage anymore. We've already paid him. And so we just hope that maybe he gets it.
Yeah. And let me tell you, he has the trait that I don't think Lamar has.
Yeah.
He's a passer, bro.
Yeah.
He's a passer. So if he gets his work ethic part straightened out, he can be a player in this league, because my real concern with him coming out of school was only his size, that, durability. Can he take shots?
Yep.
But I one of the things I realized after watching him play for the last couple of years, you first got to catch him.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. And although he's small, he's so elusive.
You can't catch him. Yeah.
It's
Warwick Dunn. It's Warwick Dunn. It's Barry Sanders.
Yep.
They weren't big either, but you never got a shot on those guys.
Right.
And they were running backs.
Yep.
That shit is hard, bro.
It really is. It really is.
Okay. And that's it. All right. I know you got to go. I'll see you next week.
Absolutely.
Have a great weekend, my friend. Appreciate you as always.
Perfect. Sounds great, man. All right.
You got it, baby. Follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolf. We now pack it back in, and we put the Wolf Pack for rest till next week.
This has been the KSDT CPA Pro Football Report with NFL insider Cameron Wolf. KSDT is recognized by Forbes as one of the top tax accounting firms for 2022. KSDT CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370.
All right, and don't forget to use the QR code there at KSDT CPAs. It's tax time now, business, personal. Maybe you need an extension. Use that QR code. Reach out to the people at KSDT CPAs, 305-670-3370. Use that QR code and support the people that support our great platform. And if you need a CPA, top 200 Forbes, man, they can help your company grow. They can help your business in so many different ways. And personally, they can help you not just do your taxes, your will, anything else that you've got going on that you need help with. KSDT helps you in so many different ways. Go to the website so you can find out more. KSDTCPA.com. Offices in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties, folks. KSDTCPA. One more thing. Let me tell you, redrecover.com. The hats are in, okay? So you can go to redrecover.com. Remember, I've been telling you about red light therapy and growing your hair back and all of that kind of good stuff. And they've got the wraps now for the doggies, for the big dogs, for the small dogs. So for the hips, as some dogs have issues with hips, you can use our code Big O so you can get 10% off on those wraps. But if you're looking for the hat, let me tell you, man, some of those hats out there cost $800, $900, $1,000. I think that hat there is like $300. It's like a fraction of what normally you get in other places. Telling you, man, go to redrecover.com, use our code Big O, you'll get 10% off. Check out the hats. So if you're starting to lose your hair and you want to grow it back, for you ladies out there, if your hair is thinning and you want to make your hair a little fuller, red light therapy can help your hair grow back. It's helped my hair grow back. And remember, if your hair has been gone for years, it's going to be hard for it. But if you're in the process now where it's starting to happen to you, well, red light therapy can probably help you and save some of that, and you can help grow it back. Or if your hair is thinning and you want to create a little bit more fuller hair, that's something that I've been able to do with the hat that all over. The hair has gotten fuller too at the same time. redrecover.com. Check out the hats. Go to contact us. Tell them, hey, Big O tells me about the hat. You got the hat. And check it out. And also, if you're looking for wraps for your dogs, big dogs, small dogs, go to redrecover.com and use our code Big O. You will get 10% off there at redrecover.com. All right. The Ravens should get a QB because this is a good draft for one, and Jackson won't be able to hold them hostage by not signing a contract. Exactly. Yep. Let's see. Shower thought. Actual gym rats never lift weights. Okay. Well, then be a workout warrior. Them rats size of small dogs. Oh, God. Dougie Fresh, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Big O and Sean have the absolute best guests in Dolphin coverage. This is something to be applauded daily. Cam is a huge part of that. Yes, he is. And we thank Cam and everybody for joining us. And we thank all of you for supporting us in a big time way, man. Thank you. Did you see the news for Coolio? Is that sad or what, dude? God bless, brother. I think he was 59 years old, if I'm correct, where he passed away. And I saw the news, and it was like, really, man? You're going to have fentanyl and all that stuff in your body, and you're 59? You are out of your mind, dude. So Coolio died due to fentanyl, according to his manager. The rapper's family also said he had traces of heroin and methamphetamine in his system. He passed away at the age of 59. The Grammy-winning rapper, producer, and actor was found at a friend's house. His cause of death was not immediately known at the time, though it was later believed that he suffered a heart attack. Best known for his 95 hit Gangster's Paradise, which he recorded for the film Dangerous Minds, starring Michelle Pfeiffer. It quickly became one of the most popular rap songs of all time, topping the Billboard Hot 100 for 3 weeks and ending 95 as the number one single of that year in the United States. In 96, Gangster's Paradise was nominated for Record of the Year and Best Rap Solo Performance. Where are we at here? I just lost it after it refreshed. Performance at the Grammys with Coolio winning the latter. We are saddened by the loss of our dear friend and client Coolio, who passed away this afternoon. He touched the world with the gifts of his talent and will be missed profoundly. Sheila Finnegan, his manager at Trinity Artists International, said in a statement to Variety, "Thank you to everyone worldwide who has listened to his music and to everyone who has been reaching out regarding his passing. Please have Coolio's loved ones in your thoughts and prayers." So just rough, bro. Damn, man. That's a bad addiction, man. Wow. Look, I get it. People do stuff, when you're young, you try crazy shit and all that. Brother, but once you get older like that, I'm sure he was trying crazy shit when he was young. But man, you get to 59, you need to step. You get to your 50s and hell, get to your 40s, man. You may want to start stepping away from that kind of stuff, man. I don't know. That is some crazy stuff, dude. Saw it. What a shame. Today in music history, in 1988, on this date, Alice Cooper nearly died of asphyxiation after a safety rope broke during a concert stunt where the singer hung himself. In 94, on this date, Courtney Love was arrested on drug and theft charges after a reported overdose. At the time, she was unaware that her husband, Kurt Cobain, was dead at their home. In 62, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards met future Rolling Stone guitarist Brian Jones at Ealing Jazz Club, where Jones was performing under the name Elmo Lewis. In 81, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band kicked off their first ever full-scale European tour. The group's first trek outside of North America began in Hamburg, Germany, and it took them to 10 countries. In 78, on this date, the Police released Roxanne. The single didn't chart in England or the U.S. until the following year. In 97, Oasis Liam Gallagher married actress Patsy Kensit in London. They divorced 3 years later. Can't imagine. Why would anybody divorce Liam Gallagher? He looks like such an easygoing guy. Anyway, in 97 on this date, the Chemical Brothers released their second album, Dig Your Own Hole. And in 2001 on this date, Paul McCartney dropped nearly $4 million on a 4-bedroom home in Beverly Hills. He bought it from Courtney Love. There you go. So he made it a home. Courtney made it a crack den. Right? Is that kind of how it goes? Right? Home for normal people. For Courtney, it's a crack den. So, anyway, if McDaniel commits to more of the run this year, can we have more success with the O-line as it stands now? Thought so. Yes, I do. I do believe they will. What they need is to stay healthy, and I think we'll see better play from some of these guys. Didn't Coolio die last year, or was it the cause of... Well, yeah, no, it's just cause of death was announced. You know how it is. It takes a while for them to do the autopsy, and then they tell you the cause of death. It comes like a couple months later, usually. That's just the way it is. I don't know if it was last year or early this year, but he just died just recently. But yeah, what they released was the cause of death. And that always follows up after. Unless it was something that was so obvious that the person was shot or run over or something that you knew why they died right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. All right. Don't forget, folks, if you're looking for an automobile, we've got plenty of brand new and certified pre-owned here on the lot at 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 and Pines. And tell them that Big O sent you. Larry Schlossberg, Pat Nasto, Tony Stampone, all the great people out here at Craig Zinn's Acura Pembroke Pines, making it nice and easy for us to broadcast. We are out of here. We will see you on Monday morning at 10 a.m., same time, same place, same bat channel. We thank Sean Stanley, the man that masters this entire platform. We thank everybody out here at Craig Zinn's. Thank you all for tuning in. Thanks to all of you out there. If you sent in a super chat, and those of you, if you sent in a Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show, that is Cash Big O Show at Cash App or Venmo. We will see you on Monday. Same time, same place, same bat channel. We love you all.